What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? I haven't seen who's in the actual chat tonight yet, but hope everybody's doing good. First off, I want to say hi to my guest here tonight, Bits and Pieces, Derek. He's a good dude. For you guys that don't know him, you're getting ready to get to know him. At least that's the plan, anyway. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about a few different things that not only he and I have talked about and maybe planned a little bit, but get to know him a little bit, get to know a little bit about his channel.
What the hell's going on?
Did you lose something, Derek?
Yeah. Everything's crapping out on me. What the hell? There we go. I think.
We're working through some technical stuff, guys. So bear with us here. We're still learning this whole StreamYard thing anyway. So that's how it goes anyway, right? So we'll just kind of chit chat for a minute. Let's see who's going to show up and hang out with us tonight. So who we got so far? Let's see. We got Lisa. Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Kyle's like, Derek's in the MFN house.
Kyle, what's up? Crippled Cat, hello. Iron Otter, my man. Is everybody doing all right tonight? J Car, how are you? Smitty, what's up?
You guys get to stare at my beautiful face for a while.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I can turn my camera off, and I could have literally just painted a picture there, and it would be like, Scumdog, what's up? Give me just a little bit, Scumdog, and I'll start bringing some people up.
That's
Iron Otter says hi, Bits and Pieces.
Hello. Glad you guys came by.
Yeah, I do know that. I think, like I said, I was telling you before we actually went live that that Masshole is actually going to be live here in a little while, so we might be a little bit thin on our chat. But either way, we'll hang out and have fun and talk about some cool stuff. So, and for those of you who want to hang out with us, we'd love to have you, and we'll try to share some decent. We'll try to keep it entertaining. How's that? Even if Derek and I have to get up and dance or sing a song or something, okay?
You're putting the pressure on me there, man. The things I've done on the internet is embarrassing. There's some cringy shit on the internet. If you look at my channel like back like a long time ago, it's the cringiest stuff. Like, no, I'm still pretty cringy. Like I admit it. Like that's just how I am. Like I'm just a cringe boy.
I understand. I guess what? Honestly, if we all didn't have something kind of like, I hate to say like hanging over our head or in our past or something that we kind of go, oh, probably wish I wouldn't have done that. But when you have it on film, when it's recorded, Derek, that makes it like 10 times worse, bro.
Dude,
like Proud Ohio, what's up, man?
I am going to post this on Facebook. Get some people in there. There we go. Hey, Crippled Cat. Hey, guys. So I'm so used to Streamlabs, and this is different. I've never really. I think. Well, the other day, whenever I was on with Ironton Auditor, that was the first time in years that I've done some type of team or guest stuff. There for a while, like a few years ago, I was running a podcast, and it was a little bit different. It was fun.
Everything's a learning experience, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, been doing this off and on for 10 years, and I still don't know everything about it. Like there's always just something new.
Captain Cactus from Captain to Captain. How are you, sir?
Thank you, J-Car. I appreciate it.
Ironton Town boys sticking together. That's right.
We got to represent represent Ironton.
Well, you know what's crazy, and I listen. I'm gonna say I have decided, and I was thinking about this. I even put a poll out to say this otherwise, but to stay away from the C word tonight. But you know what's crazy is like because of the content he was putting out, and he put such a negative image, in my opinion, a negative image of our community. And I'll be honest, man, I feel like it's almost like our duty to kind of step up and kind of show another side of what our town, our community is. I mean, this area is full of a lot of wonderful people, you know. And of course, you know, we got some moron coming in here from out of town that comes in and wants to draw all the negative attention. So it's sad, really, you know. But honestly, I think, and once again, I'm not going to dwell on him, but I think that's a lot of a person that's struggling a lot within himself. I mean, I think he's got a lot of issues that we probably don't know about. So,
yeah, I feel bad, like mental health wise, which I'm a big like advocate for like in mental health, and like, dude, seriously got some screws loose, and like, like I said, I won't go much into it, but mental health wise, when you look at him and you're just like, man, that guy is really messed up. Right. And like you were saying about Ironton's not a bad town. Like just like any other town in the United States or in the world, you know, you have your bad things, but
sure,
you know, for the most part, like, you know, everybody loves the law, loves the cops here, loves the, you know.
To answer, I just saw one of the questions in the chat from Liz. The thing about our area, and I'm not saying it's any different than any other area, except for that in this type of community, it really is the type of community where you drive around in the summertime with your windows down and you speak to people and you wave, and you know that whole type of community and connection, I guess. So I won't say it's any different than any other small town, but I think when we had such a negative image portrayed, still the video where I guess he took his teeth out and made some kind of smart aleck comment or whatever, that just goes through me. Because see, I have all my teeth. I just speak like a hillbilly.
I keep on forgetting that, like, well, he attacked what's her face, Kate from Masshole, said her teeth were rotten now. I was like, dude, you literally have no teeth. Like, you have fake teeth.
Yeah. Well, we know what happens there, so I'm guessing a lot of that has to do with methamphetamine abuse, probably.
Probably, you know, allegedly.
Allegedly, how's that? So. Well, yeah, because you know we could say all we want to, but ultimately we really don't know. And in some cases, obviously, according to him, it's not even really established in a court of law. So even if you get convicted of something, it doesn't mean that it happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, we won't go there anymore. So all right. Listen, enough of that, okay, guys. I promise. I promise. Enough of that for now. Okay. Let's talk to our guests. Let's get to know him, guys. This is obviously, you know, it's Derek of Bits and Pieces. He has become a friend of mine, and I enjoy his content. He is a very, very I'm not gonna deem you as just a funny channel, okay? Because I think you're more than that. But his content can go from very serious and very full of a lot of good information to literally busting at the seams laughing of what just happened. So, but he's a good guy, and we're going to find out all about him. So, Derek, first of all, I'm just kind of curious. You said you've been doing this for a while, and when you started, and has Bits and Pieces always been what you started with? Is your channel name?
Actually, there for a while when I started on Twitch, like I used to go by my gamer tag, which was Ants06, and I started with a channel. Like I lost my job. This was years ago, and I started a channel called the Unemployment Chronicles, and I realized that was bad. Like at the time, whenever I made it, and then we ended up, I think back in 2000, maybe 2017, I believe I turned it to bits and pieces, and I've kind of kept it since then. Like one of the main goals of the channel, there for the longest time, was helping people that has problems mental health wise. A lot of stuff like depression, suicide. That was something I like to do because I'm very open. Like if you watch any of my content, I'm very open about that. And
And
I like
honestly,
to.
that was one of the things that's one of the reasons why I wanted to speak with you and bring you on the channel is because you are really the definition of true transparency. You are very, very open about speaking about everything, and I wanted everybody to kind of get to know that side of you as well. Because obviously, and you know that I just started a challenge July 1st, with for the veteran suicide awareness. And the reason that I'm doing that is obviously this is the month of our freedom. This is the month that we celebrate independence. And I think nobody deserves more appreciation, obviously, than our veterans. Um, but the reason that I wanted to bring you on was because and the statistics, obviously, we know aren't spot on by any means, but there's just a general statistic says 22 veterans a day take their life in the United States. Now, I've heard as many as twice that many, but that's a general statistic. And I know that you spoke openly about your struggles with depression and mental illness. And I thought maybe we could touch base on that of what kind of coping tools you've had to get through some stuff and to kind of fill us in on what your experiences have been.
Yeah. So I think it was 2016. I was diagnosed with severe bipolar depression. Um, I was in a really bad relationship of about 7 years. Like it ended in 2018, and I ended up losing pretty much everything I owned. And during that time, the depression just kept on getting worse throughout the years. I think I have four, give or take, trips to the behavioral units at some of the hospitals, like King's Daughters. I've been there in the behavioral unit just due to suicide attempts twice. I was in the ICU back in 2017 due to a suicide attempt, and again in 2018 or 19, I was there for about a week at a different hospital. Um, yeah, like I'm not embarrassed of it because I mean that's just if you ever need help, best thing I would recommend if you think you're going to get to that point where you want to end it or delete yourself, um, don't do that. Just don't
Right.
do that. But also, it seems like it's embarrassing to be like, hey, I've been in the behavioral unit of a hospital, and a lot of people like they make fun of that. People's going to make fun of you. I mean, if you're on the internet and you talk about your depression, a lot of people's going to be like, get over it or something like that. A lot of people don't really realize that, you could be depressed. That's one thing, but clinical depression is a disease. Like
Right.
it's a literal thing you have to get help with. Uh, but I'm very open about it, and I like to be open about it. Um, See, I lost my best friend at the time. He killed himself back. Uh, I want to say 2018, 2019, and that was rough. That was rough. Like you, you hear people say, "Hey, when you lose somebody from suicide, you don't really know how to feel." And I never realized what I was doing to friends and family whenever I did my stuff. But then I found out firsthand what it feels like to lose somebody to that, and it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. One thing, um, but yeah, Monty, my fiance, she's in chat. Josh died February 2019, um, and he left behind. He had a wife. He had a child. He was getting ready to have another child.
Wow.
And he was gone. That's one of the roughest things in the world. Like losing your best friend,
Sure.
like seeing him in a casket, like it's awful.
Sure.
Terrible.
I understand. And you know, and I think that's something too, that as far as the way that mental health affects, I'm not, by no means am I an expert, but it certainly appears like it really does affect everybody differently. But I've noticed that a lot of people will have very similar complaints, about the feeling alone, or feels like it's always, and this is just the way I've heard it described at times, but it's like it's always dark. Does that make sense to you, from somebody that's suffered from depression, that it's almost like everything's got a gray tint on it in life, if that makes sense? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's kind of the way that I've heard it kind of described before. So but once again, not that I know of, I don't know that I suffer from anything like that, other than I think I suffer from at times being a little bit lazy, but that's about it as far as that goes. So, but other than that, I don't think I have. But I've heard people describe it that way, at least.
So how and this affects people differently. It's not one of those one size fits all type things. You know, you wake up, you don't want to wake up, you want to stay in bed. You don't want to hang out with your friends. You'd rather be alone. You stop, like, I love gaming. I love gaming, like I do. And I used to game all the time, like all the time, but I have a hard time these days putting a controller in my hand because, I just want to not do anything.
Right.
When you say like a darkness, that is pretty accurate. That is pretty accurate. Like you do always feel like the world's kind of crushing you. Like you always feel that way, and like you you worry. Like I worry all the time about small things, and I always apologize for everything I do.
Is that more of an anxiety thing? That I'm curious, because I'm very uneducated about this. I'm curious of the way it's actually related. The worry thing is more of an anxiety thing, and the depression is the other side of it. Is that correct?
Yeah, it kind of plays with each other. Like where I'm bipolar, it's off and on, but anxiety, that does have a lot to do with it. Like, there's times where, I want to talk to my friends, or, I come home and I immediately just go to my bed from work. That's all I do. I hate that. I have a lot of friends that I haven't talked to in months because it just, you always feel like people are out to get you.
Mm-hmm.
They're judging you. You kind of feel like you're just shrouded in negativity, and your reality is it's not that bad. Like when you look through the lenses a different way. But me, like it's in and out, in and out, in and out. My fiance, she could tell you. My brother, my mom, they could tell you firsthand what it's like with me. Like it's exhausting sometimes.
Yeah, I can absolutely, I can imagine, just from what little bit I've been around it. And obviously even at work, I mean, we see the sides of it that probably, obviously we don't know that it's diagnosed until maybe later, but within my job, I see a lot of the effects of it, at least, and how bad and extreme it can go. Excuse me. Something I did want to ask you about. You started your channel, you said what maybe 10 years ago, is that what you said?
Yeah, give or take. I think my very first video, and it was something stupid. It was about 10 years ago, I think.
How did you fall into your content? I know that you were gaming, presented a lot of gaming content and stuff in the past.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it started out gaming and life vlogs. And it wasn't until, there for a long time, my channel would only get like per video, maybe 5 or 10 people would watch it. And then this happened when it came to town, which we know what happened there. I got out of my comfort zone. One thing, you guys seen the video, I'm sure. If not, you can go back on the channel. It's the auction video. I made an ass out of myself. But I had fun because that guy was a bully, and I hate bullies, so I went to bully the bully. Yeah, and that was out of my comfort zone. But I was like, fuck this guy.
I'll tell you this. That's how I was actually introduced to you. That's how I found your channel, was that video. And I'll tell you what happened. I got up that morning and I work evening shift. And I think I was off that day anyway, because I'm off on the weekends. But I got up and I'm just kind of cruising through Facebook, and I seen somebody shared maybe your link or whatever. And I was like, let's see what's up. So I click on, and immediately, like, as I click on, you're like driving to the auction still, I believe. And I'm like, oh man, because at the time, I didn't know you. So I was thinking, is this one of the cronies that's going down there to support him and do all the nonsense he was asking? And then as I started listening to you, I was like, no, this guy's like had enough of him, like he's kind of tired of his crap. So I kind of tuned in, and you're kind of like, your commentary, and you're like calling the shots as if, okay, he's pulling up, so here's what I'm going to do type thing. And I was like, oh, finally, because there's so many times, even from a professional standpoint, man, I wanted to tell this guy what I think, but I can't, right? So I had to kind of play by different rules. But you, as a citizen, you had the right to be able to go up to him and basically tell him, I think you're an idiot. So you had a little bit of advantage on me there.
I like to embarrass people in public.
Oh gosh,
on purpose. I'm purposely awkward. I do it to Monty all the time. And she'll tell you,
oh, my wife can share those same stories, I'm sure. Destiny, if you're in the chat, type something in.
And by the way, guys, J-Car, let me go back and answer this real quick. So let me go here. He said he feels like he's totally alone, no purpose on the dark days, too much loss. So that's normal with that kind of depression. What I would recommend, guys, and I'm sorry we're going back to depression.
No. I wanted to bounce around with you and speak about a lot of topics, so feel free.
So it doesn't hurt to get a support system. Doesn't matter if it's your pets, your family, your friends, or some stranger you meet on the bus. Support system's great. Hospitals, even though it's embarrassing, go. If you feel like you're down and you think, just go. Also, a therapist is a great way. But the most important thing is still having a support system. And if anybody in chat, if you're experiencing this today, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll do my best to talk to you. That's one of the things I like to do is help people. But if you wanted to, just feel free to reach out and maybe we can have a little bit of a chat.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think Terry just posted another link to your channel down there in the chat as well. So
hey, thanks, Terry, dude. I appreciate it, man.
And Terry's going to join us here in just a few minutes. I just wanted to talk a little bit more one-on-one with Bits for a little bit, so we can kind of get to know him a little bit. So let me ask you this, and I know you kind of touched on this, but I want you to kind of break it down for me. Mm-hmm. What set you off on that? And I'm not saying as in triggered you, okay? So I'm not saying you're Karen, okay? But what sets you off in the direction of kind of being this new content creator that's more, I know obviously we know the C word probably is what got it going, but what exactly was the moment where you said, nah, I'm doing a video on this moron? I mean, what was it that kind of got you going on that?
Like one thing like I don't like bullies and I don't like people that scam people. And a lot of people could see, I saw right through his shit the first time I seen him.
Sure.
And just the way he talked to people, like I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna jump in and just embarrass him in front of everybody and just step up to him, because I didn't see anybody else standing up for against him. Like, there's people who wanted to, but I was just like, I was there. I had a camera. I had the channel. It's like, what? I'm just gonna do something different. And yeah, and that's kind of where where it went from there.
I understand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so the channel does. We have made a lot of Sweetie videos. We call him Sweetie, but I still love my big thing is gaming and stuff like that. But one of the things I'd like to focus on is that kind of content where we see these scam artists, we see these bullies trying to cause problems. I don't care if it is an auditor or some other gamer or somebody just being an absolute like monster. I'd like to stand up for it. Like, I'd like to say something against it. And some people might not like it, but it's just what I wanted to.
Well, what's crazy is, and a lot of times guys like him, the so-called anti-bullies, are the biggest bullies. That kind of create the biggest problems. And if you listen to his spiel, so to speak, he is kind of so, I'm here because cops are tyrants, and I'm here because cops are so bad, and government's so bad, or whatever. But his examples that he gives are ridiculous, and the way that he acts is so silly. It's like, you can't go up and and I think I mentioned this in streaming the other night when we were talking, and somebody mentioned something about how you gotta approach him differently. I'm like, wait, let's clarify. I didn't approach him at all. Okay. I was at work and this guy shows up and starts treating everybody like a jerk, and it's not up to me to determine how he starts off a conversation, and as soon as he comes in and he starts talking terrible and nasty to some young guys that work at the PD that I know for a fact are good dudes, and they're just, and he tries to paint this picture of them that are completely different. And it's like, dude, you are blatantly being the definition of everything you say you hate, just on the opposite end, and that's just crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. But that's another thing. And I hate to dwell on him too much, because I don't want people to think that that's all my channel is. And to add a disclaimer for myself, my channel actually started off as a more of a firearms education type thing, obviously, hence Leducator. I had somebody ask me the other day if Leducator meant that I was I educated people with lead, like as a police officer shooting people, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, man.
But the reason that I go that way is to explain, no, I am a firearms instructor. I teach Pro 2A classes. I teach defensive handgun, defensive carbine, defensive shotgun, weapons retention, defensive tactics. I teach civilians how to not be victims. That's what I like teaching. And I just done the first video on there because I didn't know how to get the word back to this guy. I didn't know how to get back to Chili that I was going to accept his fight and let's do this. So I thought, I know that if I post something on YouTube, as much as he lives on YouTube, it's going to get back to him. So that was my whole take on it. That's why I done the original video, and it just kind of took off from there. And then I had other channels wanting me to come on their platform and speak and stuff. So, but this all started simply because he challenged a policeman. Says he challenged policemen all over the place, but I've come to find out recently that that's not exactly true. That I think he goes around, runs his mouth, and says that he does, but not so much. But nevertheless, he says that. And I took him up on it, and I went ahead and I found a promoter, and I found the venue and the whole 9 yards, and I don't think he expected that. And I think that's kind of where everything started kind of jumping up. So, but as far as your content goes, you kind of went the other way, and you started breaking down his videos and calling him out on nonsense when you would see it. And you had fun with interviewing the chili, which is a can of chili. If you guys haven't seen that, you've got to check out Bits and Pieces, and you got to go back and look at his interviews with Sweetie. I think you actually titled it, didn't you?
Yeah, I call him
Interview with
Sweetie.
Yeah, interview with Sweetie, because it's hilarious. And Sweetie is a can of chili in the video, so it's definitely worth it. So
I have so much fun doing those.
and honestly, every time you post and I get a notification that says, "Oh, Bits and Pieces got a new video," I'm like, "Oh yeah. I gotta watch this, because I guarantee it's going to be something funny." And you have had a few serious videos too that I'm kind of going, "Dang, I come into this to get a laugh," and now I'm like sitting here I'm sitting here all like solemn, thinking about everything. But nevertheless, it's good content either way. So, but yes, to clarify, I just saying in the chat from somebody, yeah, it's not lead, it's Legicator. I actually, like I said, I teach firearms, and that's kind of where that came from. I'm a huge Pro 2A person, and I know that I'll probably get some grief from some people about that, but I can actually I can take it. I got broad shoulders. So, but let me ask you this. So we started talking in here a while back, because you and I have become friends through all this. And you had mentioned on one of your videos that you were interested in starting to train and try to make some changes in maybe your daily routine, so to speak, and training, and do some things different.
So
yeah, go ahead with that.
Sorry for cutting you off, man.
No, you're fine, buddy. You're fine.
I'll go ahead and tell chat too. Thank you so much for all the kind words. It's pretty humble to see that. So I appreciate it. So if you've noticed on my channel, some of the comments, rather be a community or just the channel itself, the one thing that is common with these comments is, "Hey, you're fat. You live in your mom's basement." Things I already know. I don't live in my mom's basement, right? I live with my brother right now. But I'm fat. I know that. I'm a thick boy, and I do want to change that. I've tried a lot of things, and I failed at each one. And I'm getting married in October, and I'd like to be healthy. And plus, I've never been in a fight, and I want to learn how to fight. And I've been watching all this boxing stuff, like all the time. And I want to learn how to do that so I can defend myself and defend my wife.
Absolutely.
And also just have fun and
awesome.
Just get healthy. So,
what's crazy is, since I started all this, and I'm going to give a little bit of my backstory too, and I know people probably heard this, but this gives me a little bit more opportunity to go in depth with it. I was always into weightlifting a lot, like to the point where I was training for powerlifting meet. I was always strength always came easy to me. I was always, I could pick up. It was almost like I could walk by a dumbbell rack and I would grow muscle and get stronger. So it always came easy to me. So I kind of got lazy with it, thinking this is so easy, whatever. But nevertheless, so I lifted. I enjoyed it. That was kind of part of my life. That and tactical type training, firearms training and defensive tactics was kind of what I done. That's what I enjoyed. And in March of 2000 and I guess 21, yeah, because man, I'm about had a little brain fart there for a minute, but March 2021, I actually destroyed my arm lifting very lightweight, and it shocked me. I did not expect that. I was bench pressing, and I thought I had a little tendonitis. It didn't hurt. It didn't blow up like everybody. You see these videos on like YouTube that are these guys that they'll tear their pec or whatever, and it's like this horrific, nasty scene, right? But with this, it just kind of was one of those things. It was like, ouch. So I asked my spotter to help me lift it back, and I set it back on the bar. And I told him, I said, I'm going to take the rest of the day off. I said, I think I got a little bit of tendonitis in my right elbow. Okay. So a few days goes by, whatever. And my arm started turning purple, like from my elbow on up to my armpit and all the way down to my fingers. And I'm going, that's not good. So I went to my doctor and he says, let's go get it checked out through an orthopedic surgeon. And I did. And they told me that my tricep was ruptured. So I went in for surgery. I went in for surgery in my tricep and I found that, or I didn't know, I was out obviously, but the doctor actually ended up telling my wife that it was a little bit worse than it was anticipated. And basically they had to rebuild all my tendons in my elbow. So, but through that, I come back and I kind of fell into depression myself, and not the actual clinical depression, but I guess just for a seasonal, without a physical season, but a season of my life, if that makes sense. I kind of started getting gloomy, and I was woe is me type thing. What am I going to do? I'll never be strong again, because that's what I always was. It was always so easy because I was always strong, and it really upset me. And when it started healing, and I went back in the gym, I was so depressed because guess what? You're not strong anymore, big boy. And your arm is literally, I lost like almost 5 inches around my bicep in size. So I was completely just crushed. And I was so unmotivated because I didn't want to work hard for it anymore, because it felt like, what's the point? I'm half what I used to be type thing. Right. So as time went on, I started kind of getting a little bit more ambitious, whatever, to go through some stuff and push a little harder in the gym. And then in September of last year, I come down with COVID-19. And let me tell you, it started off with just little flu type symptoms. And I really didn't know what to expect. I was even telling my wife, I was like, this sucks, but it's not that big a deal. I'm sick or whatever. And it went on and kept progressing until finally my wife woke me up in the middle of the day because that's all I could do is sleep. And she says, and she's got the paramedics standing basically over top of me and is insisting that I go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and I went to Cabell Huntington Hospital in Huntington, West Virginia. And I was admitted. When I got there, my temperature was 105 something. I don't remember exactly, but it was 105 something. Or 104. I don't remember, but I think it was right around 105. And I was completely out of it. Well, I was in there for 6 days. And part of my testimony, the goodness of God is this. I was in there for like 4 days, and it just kept getting worse till I got up to 70% oxygen flow or whatever, and the high flow oxygen. They was getting ready to actually put me on the vent. Excuse me. And they said the doctor and the nurse came in there, and they were sitting there together. And it was kind of one of those just weird, kind of uncomfortable, like, what do you do? Because like they weren't doing anything. They were just kind of standing there looking at me. And I'm like, So I'm like trying to figure out why they're just standing there. And I said, is something up? Like, am I dying? And the doctor looks at me and then looks over at the nurse, and the nurse looks at him and looks back at me and says, I won't say you're dying, but would you like to call your wife? And I said, no, actually, I don't. Like, I don't want to accept that, really. So at that point, he kind of hit me, and I'm kind of laying there, and I was kind of, there's part of me is kind of like, oh my God, I'm dying, like this is it. And then I decided, you can either lay here and die, or you can trust God's going to heal you and get you back up out of this bed and get back to life. And I had a lot of people praying for me, and a lot of people that were, in my family, my friends, in the community that were praying for me. And the next day, I went from 70% oxygen flow to 4 in like 13-hour period, from 70% to literally 4% oxygen. It's all I needed for assistance. And they said, so the doc comes in the next day and he says, I'll tell you something. He says, yesterday, he said, I had 5 people on this floor that were dying of COVID. And I was like, okay. And he says, today I've got 4. And I was like, oh man. I was like, somebody died? And he goes, no, you're not going to. And I was like, what? I mean, it kind of hit me and was like, oh my gosh, like it really was that serious. And like, I'm up, you know? So I got out of the hospital, and, you know, my wife was wonderful, and she basically took care of me and basically kept me alive. But, you know, we kept going, and I gained a lot of weight. I gained 50 pounds of bad weight because I was too sick to move around. I couldn't do anything. And I still had that big appetite like a power lifter. So I completely just kept gaining bad weight. And I was depressed again in my own mind. You know, what am I going to do? You know, how's this going to go? You know, I don't know how I'm ever going to recover. And then a little short, squirmy, little mouthy, wannabe Hollywood star shows up and motivated me. And I'm going to give him credit. Chili, if you're creeping the chat, eventually you will. We know that. I actually really do appreciate the fact that you sparked just the interest in me to get back up and remind me who I was, because I probably wouldn't have, but that fired me up, you know, hearing the nonsense. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, you don't know me, because you might think you know me, or you might think you see this out of shape, you know, guy that's sitting here not been able to do much, but this ain't me. This is just a suit I'm wearing right now because I've been too lazy. But don't fool yourself. I can take it off and I'll find me again. And when I do, I'll then find you. And I'm going to adjust your head in the cage. And I've been so provoked to do that. They're letting off fireworks behind me, guys. Just so, but I've been so provoked to do that, that it really did wake me up. Like, I've been fired up. And since then, I'll give everybody the update. When I started this, when I very first went in, I was 284 pounds, and that's really bad. When I was at my strongest and I was in shape, I was about 245. But then I lost a lot of muscle mass and I gained a lot of fat. So I probably, like I said, gained close to 5 or 50 pounds of bad weight. So let's just say 284. I'm now down close to about 260. Awesome, on a good day, to go in early before I eat or anything, I'm going to end up, in the low 260s probably right now. So I can tell you, sometimes you have a choice. And, I've heard my pastor at church, he says this all the time: your decisions determine your destiny. And I use this a lot. You can decide to sit around, and you can decide to make bad decisions, and you're going to end up having bad outcome. Or you can decide one day, you know what, I've had enough and I'm not going to lose anymore. And whatever it takes to spark you up, whatever motivation you need, it doesn't matter. Get up, go do it. Don't make excuses, make progress, push, don't quit, and see the results. And, another thing that really provoked me was the fact that Chili actually told me that in one of his videos. He didn't tell me, but he did say in one of his videos that there's no way that I could weigh in at 250 or something like that. I don't remember what it was by the time of this fight. He says, because the human body don't work that way. Well, guess what, big guy? My human body works for me, and I tell it how it works. So we'll see what I actually weigh in September. Because if you think that I'm not going to be sub 250, you got another thing coming. I will be back to what I was. I'm going to show up the way that I want to, and I'm going to be in the shape that I want to, and I'm going to do what I want to ultimately in this fight plan. And that's what's motivated me. And everybody's motivated by different things, and you've got your own motivation, with your bride-to-be, your health, and you wanting to be able to defend yourself and do the things that you want to do. And I absolutely stand behind you 100%, and I will help you in any way that I can. Hopefully, folks, we're going to start doing some videos on that as well, where we will record together some training, some boxing training and stuff. And hopefully I won't make a fool of myself, and I'll actually teach Bits something.
I did invest in a tripod, so
good.
That now, so
good. Let me ask, we got 25 people right now that are showing in the chat. Do we have any fight fans? Put a 1 in the chat if you're a fight fan, and be real. Don't just put it in there because it's the thing to do. But if you actually legitimately are a fight fan, put a 1 in. Is Terry the only one?
There we go. There's some.
Okay, we got 2. Got 2.
Oh, there we go. They're coming.
Okay. Fight fan, like, is boxing fan, MMA fan, whatever it may be. You know, everybody's got their own thing. In my opinion, I think MMA is the best fight sport just because it gives a little bit more of a variety of true technique.
What was
I guess I just seen something too where because I get a lot of like updates and stuff on all my social medias. By the way, Bits, are you a fight fan? Are you a fan of the sport?
I used to not be, but now, like, for about a month and a half or more, I've been.
So basically, you become a I want to learn what Legigator's getting ready to get punched in the face fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's funny because I told my fiance, I was like, hey, I want to learn how to fight, and she's like, I don't think I can watch you get punched in the face. I was like, well, that's the thing, I'll have to get punched in the face. It's like, as a part of it.
Well, I told my wife, I said I'm going to take this fight. Well, she was really behind it. Like, she really showed me a lot of support. And I said, are you sure you can handle this? I was like, you want to show up and watch me, get punched, get hit, and get my eyes busted open and, all stuff like that. She says, well, heck yeah. She's like, I want to see it. She's like, I'm going to be sitting there screaming in the front row. And I was like, okay. And she goes, but I will say, if somebody gets you down, starts beating you up, I'm liable to climb over that cage. I was like, well, I'm going to do my best to not let that happen. As you guys can hear, we're celebrating the 4th year a little early, right? We got a lot of fireworks.
I kind of see Monty doing that. I don't know if, like, we talk about it time to time, and I know she won't like it whenever I start getting punched in the face.
Well, for a while we'll work on technique. We'll get your footwork is in my experience, footwork is the one thing that is the most important of anything. You have to have good footwork, because if you don't, you cross your feet, you're going to be somebody's victim. And then we'll work our way up through your hips and then your shoulders and keeping your chin tucked and that type of stuff. And we can put you together something to keep you guys going. I don't have any problem whatsoever. I am not a super boxer. I do have a little experience with it when I was growing up and stuff, and obviously enough to be able to say that I did it, and I can probably teach you. But we'll at least get you up to speed, and it'll allow you to be able to do something to keep you motivated for fitness, and that's the main goal anyway, is to be able to get in good shape and feel better. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question. I want somebody in the chat to tell me who is their favorite fighter, MMA or boxer or whatever discipline. Type somebody's name. Let's see if we get any repeats. I'm curious. Anybody out there want to mention somebody that they support greatly? Because I'll tell you, I consider myself Roy Jones Jr. probably, in my opinion, when he was in it. There was 2 different Roy Jones Jr.'s. Okay, when I was growing up. Well, yeah, Muhammad Ali, of course. But Roy Jones Jr., when I was growing up, that was absolutely, if the real Roy Jones Jr. showed up, oh my God, he was absolutely. And Khabib, yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. But Roy Jones Jr. had probably the best head movement, honestly, that I've ever seen. He was something else, man, but he could show up sometimes, and my gosh, he was terrible. Sonny Liston. Wow. Sonny Liston had the big hands. Boy, he was a hoss cat. Tyson, obviously, there's another head movement guy. Tyson had that little, like I think they call it peekaboo technique, basically, where he keeps his hands right there at underneath his eyes, and he keeps a real tight guard. And he keeps real square. I don't fight real square. I fight more more bladed like an MMA fighter. Honestly, that's kind of been my thing. And when I was younger, it's you don't even have to think about getting a you don't have to worry about getting double leg takedown in boxing. But I still fought that way, and now that I've kind of transitioned into training for MMA, and I started working stand up over there, and those guys are like, your stand up's actually pretty good for defending the takedown. I was like, really? I was like, because I've never done that before. So, and in jiu-jitsu, from the grappling that I've had, I was always, I'm strong enough. I get, in a gi takedown, I get a collar and elbow type takedown and I'm fine, or somebody's going to pull guard. But in a fight, that's probably not going to happen. Or if you do pull guard, you're going to get smashed. So, but nevertheless, I was kind of curious what everybody says. So we've actually had more boxers than MMA fighters, looks like mentioned. So, but that's kind of surprising. I was kind of surprised. I really thought we'd see a lot more of the Khabibs and Connors. Nobody said Connor. Does that not surprise you?
Conor
McGregor.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I really expected to see Conor McGregor. Really did. But Connor's great. He's a great fighter. I don't take anything away from him. He was just, man, he was all over the place there a few years ago. So big time. So let me ask you this: when you were talking about being able to defend yourself, defend your family, how do you stand on the 2A topic? Where is your belief at on that? I'm going to touch some kind of probably, I'm going to have some people love me and people hate me by the end of the night, but I don't care. I'm strong when I believe.
So, I'm pretty, I consider myself a libertarian.
Okay.
I used to own a gun. I used to have a Walther PPK. But for me and my health, like, I just can't have a gun. I'm afraid of guns.
Okay.
I think people should be able to protect themselves. I don't think you should take away guns from people, but I do think that maybe people like me or felons, maybe they shouldn't have guns.
Sure.
Maybe a deeper check into it, but like I said, I don't want somebody to like come through the door and be like, hey, give me your gun, take it away from. That's crazy. And I think it's important for us to have weapons just in case we have a tyrannical government that decides to. But the Second Amendment is to protect people from the government, just in case.
That's right. I'm going to bring, since we're on the topic of guns, and I've got a strong Pro 2A guy waiting here in the backstage. Terry, if you can hear me, I'm bringing you up.
Yes, sir. I'm right here waiting.
All right, everybody. Ironton Auditor, welcome to the show here.
Hello, everybody. How we doing tonight? Hello, Derek. How you doing tonight?
Hey, pretty good, buddy. How are you
sir.
doing tonight?
You know me. I'm good for nothing, but guaranteed good for it, son.
Hey, you know what? You're good for nothing but an expert anyway, right?
Hey, buddy. We all got to be good at something. We all can't be rich and powerful,
That's right. So, Terry, I don't know if you caught on, but I started kind of talking about the 2A topic here, and like I said, we'll move into that a little bit more. But Derek and I we had a little discussion on that, and I know where you stand, but if you don't mind, just a little bit to talk about your views on that, and not as much of a practice, but if you don't care, just talk about what you feel about freedom within.
Well, I tell you what, I agree with bits and pieces. The original reason for the Second Amendment, because without it, we wouldn't have any of the rest of them. That is how we enforce our freedom if it ever comes to it. Not that it isn't coming to it now, but not necessarily needing to throw bullets just now. But that's what the Second Amendment is for, is to make sure that we, the people, can protect all others. We are the militia that it talks about in the Second Amendment.
Absolutely. That's exactly what militia, actually, if you look up the definition, I believe the definition of militia is an army of the people, an unpaid, basically, or if they are paid, they're compensated based on specific times, but it's basically a regulated people's army. So the reason that we have the freedoms that we do, and that's one of the things that I wanted to I hate to say preach here tonight, but I'm going to, okay? But that's one of the things that I like to remind people is the reason that we have a First Amendment is because we have a Second Amendment. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but the truth is the reason that we can say and have the freedoms and the beautiful liberties we have in the greatest nation on earth, in my opinion, is because we have the opportunity to be able to possess and keep and bear arms. And
well, notice some of those early documents talk about how having standing armies in peacetime is terrible to have, and yet we've had a standing army for how long?
Mm-hmm.
So that I know that a lot of people think that the military is out there to keep our freedom, but they're being sent across the world, and it has nothing to do with fighting for our freedom at home. My question is, who's going to make sure we're still free when those young men and women come home?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, and I'll tell you this too, and this is something that that we've all heard. Even back in World War II, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and that quote was real when he basically said, "You can't invade inland United States. You can't, because there's a rifle behind every blade of grass. It's the largest army in the world, is basically the militia of the United States." You talk about 1 million man standing army or whatever, and some of our enemies overseas, or potential enemies overseas, all they have 1 million man standing or 2 million man standing or whatever. That is nothing compared to what the militia of the United States would be should we ever be called to arms. You're talking possibly 50 million plus ready to go. I think they claim 180 million gun owners in the United States, somewhere around there.
Oh, well, not to mention just here in this state, I'd say that our gun ownership probably triples the population, just at a guess.
Oh, bud, listen, I'm from West Virginia.
We could arm the rest of the country that don't have any. We got plenty to go around. It's not a problem.
There's 2.5 million people in West Virginia, they claim, and I'm pretty sure that our army's 25 million somehow. I don't know where they come from. They just come out of rocks and everything. But no, I'm kidding. But in this area, we definitely see that a lot more. The loving, gun loving, red-blooded Americans, so to speak. So, and the reason why I brought that up is I'll tell you this. Have you guys heard of FASTER, the program FASTER?
No, I haven't.
Okay, FASTER is the, and I don't want to speak wrong of it, but I'm going to tell you what I think I know about it. How's that? FASTER is a program that basically goes around and educates gun safety through schools. So basically, it teaches the teachers, staff, faculty, trains them with firearms in order to be able to defend the children. And we know that is a huge issue, obviously, in this country, and it's a sad thing. But I think the only way to really be able to effectively combat a violent human being is to be more violent in return. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but sometimes it's very important to be violent in a positive way. Like there was a saying that I've read before that says, make no mistake, or excuse me, it says, violence is always a last resort, but make no mistake, I'm good at it.
That's part of what makes soldiers.
Absolutely. So, and the reason why I want to touch on that is hopefully this upcoming week, I'm going to have Tom Hall, who is a member of the Buckeye Firearms Association and is an instructor for FASTER. And we are going to talk about what that program is. He's going to talk a little bit. He is a real constitutionalist, like legit, not some nonsense. He's the real deal that actually took a lot of time to really study it and understand the true perspectives of it. And I really believe that he would have a lot of really good stuff to be able to share with us too, as far as Second Amendment, as well as just overall about FASTER and such too. So we should be excited to be able to have him on. Hopefully this week. It's my plan anyway. So.
Well, you and I, educator, have talked about you teaching the defensive pistol and other gun safety courses.
Sure.
Yes, I
Absolutely.
know that you and I have talked about it. I want to take some of those courses, and I would encourage anyone else here in the local area, if you're interested in that, get with me, get with Leducator, and we'll see if we can't get together and get that done. If he's not able to teach us, we'll find someone who can.
Absolutely. If I can't do it, I promise I can point you in the direction somebody can. There is, and as far as, and I've seen somebody mention, you know, as far as common sense in regards to the care and control, that's something that Unclean Hands. What's up, man?
Hey, buddy.
But that's something that I wish that we could just like stuff information in people's head and say, hey, don't do this. That's stupid. But what I'm scared of is I'm scared to say, well, since we can't teach everybody to be responsible, we have to cripple, so to speak, the ones that are responsible. That's what I don't appreciate. I don't like, because I think our freedoms are the most beautiful in the world. So it's amazing that we have the liberty that we have. That's for sure. So, hey, Terry, do you have a way to be able to send the link to anybody individually? Because I can't from where I'm at on my platform. Can you do that?
You mean through the chat or just individually to people?
I didn't know how else we could do. Well, if you could just
what link would you like sent, and where would you like it?
The StreamYard here. There was somebody that asked Scumdog. Scumdog's wanting to come up.
I can throw it in the chat. I don't know how to send one directly to Scumdog, but
okay.
I could put it in the chat.
Just put it in the chat for Scumdog to come up. Unclean Hands, if you want to come up, you're more than welcome to, buddy.
So, yeah, like if you would have asked maybe a couple of years ago or a little bit longer, I used to be like hardcore liberal, like big time. I hated guns. I hated the law and all that stuff. But yeah, like people that know me now are like, well, you've changed quite a bit. You're different. They're like, you're a conservative. I was like, no, I'm libertarian. I see the good and the bad of the both. But yeah, like if you would have asked me about the gun law, about guns maybe 3 or 4 years ago, probably would have had a different answer. But
sure.
It's amazing how sometimes knowledge can change your opinion. Perspective changes everything.
Oh, exactly. Man, doesn't it? That is the most underrated statement ever, right there. Is
almost sounds like I know what I'm talking about, huh?
You know, perspective becomes reality. You know, and that's just the truth. So,
and that works whether your perspective is correct or not. So just so you know, your reality can change according to your perspective.
Absolutely. Let's see what we got here.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not arguing as to whose perspective is correct. I'm just saying that it can and will change.
Sovereign Soul, I got you up, buddy.
Go ahead. Cool. Sorry, I was just going around.
Don't misunderstand me.
Keep my dogs from freaking out.
Hey, you got a echo in there, Sovereign.
You got an echo somewhere, Sovereign.
Oh, I know what I got. Hang on, my bad. Keep my dogs from freaking out.
You got a echo in there, Sovereign.
Hang on.
You got an echo somewhere.
Yeah, I got it. Hang on, I'm looking for it. There it is. You got all these.
You're just responding to the echoes now. We said that.
Okay, listen, just for the record, Sovereign allowed us to be able to have the best laugh that we've had tonight.
How you doing tonight, Sovereign?
I'm doing really good. I heard y'all talking about guns.
Oh, so no, I brought up somebody that's just as 2A as me. What am I thinking?
There you go.
Oh, you know what? Hey, listen, I'm going to do this since you're going to show off something. I've done this just for this reason. Let me find it. Hang on a second. What do you think about that, bud? Huh?
I love it.
I just put that on right there just in case somebody needs some Cobra Kai.
That's it. I got a Cobra Kai sweatshirt, man. That's all I have to do. No mercy. That's it. I have that. That makes me an expert. Just like Chili is an expert because he heard an audio tape.
He
strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir.
Yes.
I'm gonna bring Scumdog up. Scumdog, what's up?
I'm gonna go get my.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Back.
Good.
How are you, Scumdog? How you doing tonight?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Oh,
Excellent.
I'm always good. Fine as the fur on a frog.
Am I coming in clear?
Yes, sir. Clear,
you're
buddy.
good.
Awesome, awesome.
Let's see. Let me get to where we was going here.
So, Cap, I got a question for you.
Sure. Shoot, buddy.
Have you decided on what walkout song you're going to walk out to?
Man, you know what?
I the tiger.
I've actually check us out. Like there's been probably 3 or 4 people that's asked me this, and I'll tell you this. My nickname that was given to me at IPD when I started there, well, a long time ago, was Iron Man. They actually nicknamed me Iron Man. And if you actually look on one of my vests actually has a patch that says Iron Man. And then
Oh, that's cool.
I've got that on the inside of my cruiser as well. So I will probably walk out to Iron Man, I'm assuming anyway.
That'd be
Iron
cool.
Man. Yeah, that's a good. That sounds good. I was thinking like a Stranglehold by Leonard Skinner.
You mean
That's Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent, excuse me.
listen, I'll tell you something. That's a fun one to just listen to and just play your own leads to, man. It's just, it gets you in that rhythm. I was when you was talking about the guns and everything, I was like, yeah, the other day, yesterday, I usually open carry a 45 caliber Kimber ACP 1911. And I got out of my Jeep up at the store, and there was this town cop. I've never seen her before. And immediately she looked and saw that gun. I could tell, well, you ain't from around here, are you? And I says, hey, how you doing? And she says, oh, I'm doing good. I says, are you like new as a town cop? You know, because my town don't even have a stoplight, you know. And she goes, no, I'm not new. I've been here for about a year. I said, oh, well, I haven't seen you very often or at all. And she goes, that's because I mostly work undercover. And I said, that's funny. I've never seen you under my covers. So and then just turned away. And I says to they were selling T-shirts, you know, with the blue line on it and shit. The money was going to our sheriff's department. I know a lot of sheriff's deputies and the sheriff himself. And I said, is there any way I can donate the money and not have to have one of those shirts? And the guy said, sure. I says, okay, here you go. And I gave him $20 and walked on. But what I was getting at with that was I've been talking to this Canadian fella, and they've been like completely brainwashed into it. And I tried to tell him, I was like, look, don't you think it's funny that they're making a ramped up acceleration to take everybody's firearms? And he goes, well, that's because of all the shootings. I said, no. It's because they're planning on doing some shit that they know you would shoot them for. Yeah. That's why.
I would agree with that.
I mean, it's like, oh, we can't have that. What they do in the media is they make it like, okay, oh, look, there's a shooting here in Chicago. They even changed the definition of a mass shooting is what, 2 or more people?
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, they did. They changed that. So when they use the term mass shootings, it might be 3 or more people. Anyway, you hear about one here, and then you hear about one here, and you hear about one here, and you hear about one here. Well, what's really occurring is there's actually no more as instances in this vastly huge nation of these occurrences. What there is an increase in the reporting on it. And the increase in the reporting on it every time is normally they might just overgloss it for some other story, but they put every shooting when they're trying to get your guns. This is to give people the perception that this is a huge problem happening everywhere. Oh my God, we got to be on alarm. All the schools are being shot up. And you go, how many schools are in the United States? You find that number and you go, well, that ain't about shit. That's bad, but it still ain't about shit. Let's stop labeling victim zones. You know what I'm saying? It's like the guy can go into a place like that and just commit mayhem because it says right on it, here is a victim zone, gun-free zone. There's nobody in here that has guns. So all the
Sovereign,
yeah.
did you hear me talking about Faster before you came up?
I might not. I was just getting done with the fireworks. They were pretty loud.
Faster is a program where basically it instructs faculty of schools to be armed. And I'm going to have one of their instructors, hopefully on probably this week, to talk a little bit about 2A and talk a little bit about Faster. And he's also a member of Buckeye Firearms Association. So he's going around, teaching gun safety, gun awareness, and kind of trying to preach the good news. How's that?
Oh, man.
So
I'll tell you what, teach them young. My grandson, he's just 8 years old. And was it a year ago, maybe 2 years ago it was, we bought him a 22 caliber Cricket youth rifle. Took him out, showed him everything, showed him all the safety. We went over all that, and God bless his heart, I watched him. He observed every bit of it. And I didn't mess with him. I let him go ahead and shoot that rifle, gave him some instruction as to how to hit his target, and he had a good old time.
Sure.
And that's the thing. If you teach them young, like I was taught young. I was handling firearms that were taller than me when I was a little kid.
Sure. Sure.
And my dad taught me, he said, this is the real deal. He says, you never point this at anything you don't want dead.
Yep.
He said,
I'll
because
tell
there's
you.
no take back. There's no take back.
I'll tell you what, in my family, when we're born, it's not the placenta that comes out. It's usually our first handgun, and that's what we teeth on. Hey guys, I got a question for you. What do you reckon they're trying to slip through underneath Roe versus Wade, since they're making that such a big deal? Every time they make a big deal in the media, generally there's several things they're trying to slip through under the radar. I'm just wondering. Y'all know something I
Or
don't?
just distract you from.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just kind of a distraction of what's going on. Like, the big thing was Ukraine. Then you see Biden's numbers slipping. Then you have this thing. This is a really big deal. And they're just trying to, I think it's a distraction from some other more serious things.
Sure.
You're talking about his numbers slipping. That kind of takes me back to your mental health talk there earlier. You think something else might be slipping with that old feller, old Uncle Joe?
Oh, dude, he's well past.
What's
Yeah,
that say right there underneath that pyramid? Novus Ordo Seclorum. What does that mean? New order out of chaos.
They're out of chaos.
I knew it was something out of chaos. I just couldn't
So
remember.
what are they doing? They're pissing everybody off as much as they possibly can. They put a buffoon in there that didn't possibly win the election the way that they said they did. They installed him there. They're pissing everybody off. Everybody's arguing. What they're trying to do is ignite another summer of rage, because we're going to have Antifa Block and all these other asswipes out there burning shit down because they might not be allowed to kill babies, might not be able to commit an infanticide. So we're going to burn shit down. And that's what they're looking for. They want new order out of chaos, because problem, reaction, solution.
You know something else that happened in the Supreme Court that everybody forgets about? Well, I don't hate to say that, but that Kennedy coach, did you guys see that?
No, I didn't.
Well, he was praying with his players on the field and basically got fired. And we got a Supreme Court ruling that says, nah, give him his job back. He's allowed to do that anyway. That that's a big win. See what a lot of people like to forget is you don't have to be a spiritual person to still be able to enjoy the fact that your freedom won.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not a person of faith, your freedom still won the same as everybody else's. So be happy with that, right?
What they took the separation of church and state, and this is how they do. Archons, demons, they cannot create. They can only pervert shit that's already been created. And so what they're trying to get people to think that means is that you're not allowed to have God in school. You can't pray in school. You can't have a Bible in school, all that. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It means the government cannot force you to pray or to have a certain religion. That's what it means.
Sure.
Because they came from a monarchy that if you were not part of the Anglican Church, like if you were a Catholic, you still had to pay a tithe to the Anglican Church, and you had to at least attend, I think it was 2 or 3 services per year, or else you would go to jail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty important to these people.
Sure.
Hey, Leducator, did you know what happens when you type in Antifa.com into the search bar of your web browser? Do you know where that takes you? Sovereign taught me that the other day. Type that into your web browser and see where that goes. Everybody in the chat, go ahead and do that. Type that into your web browser and see where you end up. It about blew the top off my head to see what website I end up on when I type in Antifa.com.
And don't try to share it on Facebook. They'll blow it right off before it even gets posted.
Wow.
What do you think of that? Give me your opinion of that.
Hang on one second, guys.
That's wild. I did not know that.
Right?
Yeah, how I've been seeing things
kind of makes you wonder what's going on around here, don't it?
There's definitely something going on. Like, I don't know.
There was Biden was supposedly in the Oval Office there was this picture. And I looked at it and it was him signing some kind of legislation. Now I've been to the White House. I live in Virginia. It's not that far. I stay away from DC, but I mean, I've been there. I know what it looks like inside and everything. And I look in it, and out the window of the White House, there's cars in a parking lot.
Hey,
outside the Oval Office. And I'm like, that's a movie set, man. There is no parking lot out there, out those windows. There's nothing out there, out those windows. There's a lawn. So what the hell is going on here? I don't know. They keep saying I'm not big on that Q and that shit because that's a bunch of people thinking you're going to have government save you from government. I don't know how that's supposed to work. But they've said, that it's all a show. That these are actors and all this other. And I'm like, I'm inclined to start believing that. Because you can't tell me in any way that Kamala Harris could be qualified to be a barista even. I mean, what in the hell is that?
Well, in my opinion, and I'll just share a little bit about my opinion. I think what votes the Democratic Party did get, in my opinion, once again, was not voting for Biden and Harris, but voting against Trump.
Yeah.
And I think on the other side, I'm not going to tell you that I have any fact, but I find it hard to believe that 80 million people voted for Biden.
No, that's impossible.
I just, you know what? Yeah, you guys remember the Obama, I guess, little catchphrase that he had, the hope thing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna do, Derek? Here's mine. Here,
there you go.
Mine says nope. with chili on my water. Nope. No hope here, folks. No hope. Only scams.
I've got an Obama sticker on my gun safe, but if you look close, it doesn't say Obama. It says vomit. That's pretty good. But
back years ago when Obama was in office, I was in a punk rock band and we used to play and shows and stuff. And my friend at the time, he was like super conservative. And one day I decided to put a Obama sticker on my bass guitar to play at a show. And this was like, I actually went and seen Obama live at the university. And I got so much hell for that. Like just for having a sticker, which, sorry about that, by the way. Sorry about, voting there for that.
Well, first off, you actually have to think that your vote really does count. What I see go on is, no. This is why I don't vote, is because I've not ever seen anybody worth voting for. And people always say, well, you have to vote for the lesser of two evils. And I'm like, that's still evil. Okay. I don't want any evil at all. Neither of these people are anybody that I would have said, hey, that guy would make a great president. No, that was your idea, not mine. Why do I have to, you say, which ass hat do you want? Well, I don't want either one of those ass hats. So sorry.
Right. Well, let me say this. Guess what I saw today? And I would have never believed this, except for it was actually, I saw a television commercial for this, or not a commercial, a newscast about this. Okay. Did you know? Now, you guys, since everybody's sitting down, you'll be prepared for this. There is actually a bill been presented right now in Congress that would allow it to be illegal for our government officials to buy and to display flags that are not made in the United States. Now, here's what I'm concerned about. First of all, I'm going to bring up Tom Hall right now. Hey, Tom, you're in, buddy. But the reason that I say that is this. Is that not absolutely mind-blowing to think that we need a law that says that our tax dollars are buying flags that are not made in the United States, American flag that's not made in the United States, and our tax dollars are buying that?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Well, imagine all the other things that have nothing to do with our country that they spend our tax dollars on. Look at all the billions they're making our great grandchildren pay for at this point.
Tom, by the way, don't get scared.
It's corporate cronyism. Now, I'm going to just to give you an idea as to how bad it really is. We have an illusion of choice. Like when you go to the grocery store, you see all these different brands of all these different foods and stuff, right? If you were to have all those things labeled by their parent company, there would only be like 4 different brands, if that many.
Sure.
Okay, that's all illusion is what's going on there. And secondly, because think about this, it's actually cheaper for them to take vegetables and fruit that's harvested in the United States, ship it overseas, have it canned, and then shipped back to sell. That's no shit. They do that.
Real fast, guys. I want to introduce the guy that I just added to the panel. This is Tom Hall.
Hello, Tom.
Tom is a very good friend of mine, and somebody that I actually have leaned on a lot constitutionally to educate me in a lot of things.
I'm checking him out. Hold on.
He's got his.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right.
He's got his chilly transparency glasses on, guys. Watch out.
Okay, safer
360 degrees.
The drone said that he was okay.
Hey, Captain, you have to know when those turn red, that's his bullshit detector.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. See, on Lyle's video the other day, when they turn red, it determines that there was a bad guy in sight.
He needs to change the batteries.
But anyway, so Tom is a firearm instructor. He's also very involved with Buckeye Firearms. Is that right, Tom?
It's Buckeye Firearms Foundation. Yep.
Oh, okay. And you are an instructor for Faster.
Correct.
Okay. Nice. Tell us a little bit about Faster. Educate us on that. Because I probably told everybody wrong. So
Faster Saves Lives is the whole name, and it's a nonprofit owned by the Buckeye Firearms Foundation. So to give you a picture of the structure, Buckeye Firearms Association is the political wing, and it's kind of like the NRA of Ohio. And then Buckeye Firearms Foundation is the nonprofit educational wing, and we own the Faster Saves Lives program. And Faster Saves Lives is a program originally constructed and created for the purpose of training school districts that have chosen to be armed for their security. Okay. So we long story short, the bullet point version is we train teachers, administrators, lunch ladies, bus drivers, school board members, whoever in combat handgun techniques, tactical combat casualty care, crisis management, and the history of mass shootings, all in. Well, we do a lot of force on force training. So I was trying to think about forgetting the subject there, but we do all that in a 3-day class, about 27 hours after they've had their CCW and they've had a foundations class, which I'm an instructor of the foundations, and that's a 6 to 8 hour class before they can go to the 3-day class. So all told, they've had about 42 to 45 hours of pretty intense safety and range training, etc. Before we bless off on them.
What's that usually cost per student?
Well, just for clarification, when we use the word student, sometimes people misinterpret that as a school student.
No, I don't.
I know that's not what you didn't mean, but I just meant some people when they hear the word student. So per staff member or whatever it comes to us, it costs us about $1,500 per student. We give a lot of grants, so a first-time school district gets up to 5 people totally free. They just got it. We pay for the hotel as well, so it's $1,000 tuition we pay. Plus, based on what time of the year and where we're at and so forth, the hotel may run us up to $500, and then we pay some other stuff. They buy ammunition, get themselves there, and feed themselves.
Wow.
Do-
See, if
do-
we
do
had
you-
transparency, though, we wouldn't need that. No, I'm just
Yeah, see, Tom, you're so behind.
Do
Did
you
you know
have a
that?
website?
I was going to
Oh.
ask you though, what have you ever? I mean, you're doing this currently, and from what I've seen, there's really some wackadoodle school teachers out there. I mean, have you had any of the blue-haired?
We've had a couple liberals come through. We've had a couple self-proclaimed anti-gun people. Most of them, there's only one that I can think of that still said he was anti-gun at the end. He was going to carry one. He was going to carry one for work, but would not allow them in his home. And it made no sense because he said, we were kind of tiptoeing around trying to ask him, how's that make sense in your head? We couldn't say it that way, but basically he didn't believe in them in his home or having one his own, but he believed in having them at the school to protect his kids. So, and he had kids at home. So I have no idea how that works in his head. Other than that, we've had several come thinking that they would disprove that they would be able to go back and say it was, bullshit training or whatever. And by the end of it, we're converts. So we've not really had any issues from students.
Hey, Tom, is there a website for people to check out?
FasterSavesLives.org. Yep, we've been doing it. This was our 10th season. We just finished up 4 classes, 5 classes, 2 level 1s down at Tactical Defense Institute in Adams County, which is a county and a half west of Portsmouth. And then we've got up in Rittman. We use the Rittman Police Range up right outside of Akron. We use Apex Shooting and Tactics up there is our lead trainer. And I just finished a week on the range with him doing 2. And then we had a level 2 back down at TDI. So we did 5 classes, just finished up Thursday.
Awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Let me ask you a question, Tom.
Sure.
As far as your experience, what and I'm asking you this specifically from a faster instructor / Pro 2A guy. What's the answer to all this? If we were to break this down and say, and we were to say, we know we have a problem. Obviously, we have a problem with some idiots. But we all know, and I think we know on this panel that gun control is not the answer to stopping bad men with guns. So what is, obviously you've taken upon yourself to educate yourself to the point to educate others. So what is the answer to it?
Well, I know how you could probably, I could give you a list of 10 things and you'd be able to pick out the things I'm about to say on it.
I know,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I want these other guys to hear you.
The number one word I would always come to when it comes to this, and I had to preach this to a couple people earlier today, is liberty. You give good law-abiding citizens the liberty to do what they need to do, because here's the thing: moral people don't need laws. I mean, I know we got to have them. But I don't need a law to tell me not to rape somebody. I don't need a law to tell me not to murder people. The laws
that doesn't stop it. That doesn't stop it anyway.
Well, exactly. That's my point, right? What laws do is they give us the excuse and the ability to employ people like you, Chad, and go out and get the bad guys so we can do something about them. Without the law, we'd have no societal authority to do anything to them. So the law is not meant to keep good people from doing bad things. Good people don't do bad things in general, so the answer is armed, an armed society is a polite society. So the more armed, educated, law-abiding citizens we've got, the safer we all are. And that was the thing that hit me when I first became an instructor, was because I used to do it for free before when I had another job and didn't need the income. And my mission statement then is the same as it is now. The more law-abiding, educated firearms owners there are, the freer and safer I am.
I did firearms instruction when I was in the Army and was a range master from when we had firing drills, and they would have me train officers from time to time on firing pistols.
And you survived.
Yes, I did. And I'll tell you what, I've seen some real dumbass people, man. Just because you got a damn suit and a rank don't mean you know shit, man. Well, one time I slapped a Colt 45, or a Smith & or my bad, the 1911 out of his hand right there on the range. I told him, I said, just get the fuck off my range. This guy was just everything you could think of that was an unsafe act. He did all of in a span of about 15 seconds. And I just get off my fucking range right now. And there's nothing they can do about it because that's my range.
Right. Well, Chad can vouch for me. I've taught thousands of students in the tri-state area here, and the absolute number one most dangerous student I had was a retired. He did like 15 years as a local cop up in Chillicothe, I believe, and then finished his career and retired as an Ohio State trooper. And he was by far the most unsafe I've ever dealt with. To the point where I had little old petite blondes running out on the range to stop him because I was downrange changing a target, and he grabbed his gun and had his finger on the trigger and was just walking behind me, and I didn't even know it. And some little petite blonde runs out on his range and grabs the gun out of his hand, and she was somebody that hadn't even bothered with guns earlier until that day. So he was the unsafest, and I hope I don't offend anybody that's listening or whatever, but this is the truth, and I've talked to plenty of other firearms instructors too. The next dangerous is the entire group of Vietnam vets. The Vietnam veteran generation, even if they didn't serve, and here's my theory, because my dad's one of them. They grew up when TV was new. They were children, and it was all Hopalong Cassidy and Lone Ranger and all those guys. And all they had was single action pistols. That's how they all learned to shoot. That's what they still love shooting to this day. And until they cock that hammer, doesn't matter what their finger does. They all have their fingers on the trigger. And hey, if the trigger don't matter, then where I point it doesn't matter either, right? So yeah, I mean that's the way they are. And man, that's
what gets me about that whole Alec Baldwin thing. When I found out about that, as soon as I heard that,
don't get me started.
I went.
Well, he's a piece of shit in the first place,
right? But and he's got anger problems. He really does. He's got anger problems.
Isn't it like pretty? Isn't it a pretty normal thing? Like everybody that ever worked with him basically said he was always a jerk.
Yeah.
Like I think I've seen that set. Like he's always been like.
Let me throw something out there when it comes to acting in general. They pretend for a living.
Sure. Like chili.
They're right. They're not. Listen, they're not necessarily bad people, but I think probably in the entire Hollywood industry, the actors.
Okay, first of all, he's not saying chili. He's not saying chili's not a bad person. Okay.
I'm not. No, I'm saying there are a few. I'm saying by far the majority of people that act have some sort of personality disorder.
Mm-hmm. Acting is a form of magic. And this is why your great actors are literally the best magicians. Some of them really into the dark arts too. Johnny Depp. There's a few of them, but these actors that can actually make you believe the character.
Oh yeah,
and evoke an emotion from them. I watched Matthew McConaughey go to the White House, and I'm like, why is Matthew McConaughey going to the White House?
Yeah, who is he to be on a platform talking about that?
Well, he's a wild
Matthew McConaughey. Damn it.
He wasn't Matthew McConaughey up on that podium. He was the Lincoln lawyer. That was the character. He played that fucking character.
Yeah.
And he did it exactly. So I think he might be looking for a shot in politics. But that's exactly what they do. Politics and acting. I always say politics is just show business for ugly people.
I think Rush Limbaugh used to say that too, didn't he?
Who's that?
Rush Limbaugh used to say that, didn't he?
I don't know. He may have. But God rest his soul. I used to listen to him years ago.
Oh yeah. Here's another one. Here's another one he used to say, which is right along the same lines. Feminism is to create a conduit for ugly women to get into the mainstream of society.
Yeah.
So what do you?
That's a destruction of society. We already know that men and women. I'm going to say something that initially might piss a lot of people off. Men and women are not and never will be equal. That being said, that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. We are both halves of one, and we
always preferred
each other.
I always preferred saying we're equal but opposite. If that helps.
Pathos, the emotion, the nurturer, combined with the logos, the strength, the truth, the righteous, that together makes the one.
What do you?
That's how that's supposed to go.
What do you guys think of these veterans about the whole red flag gun laws, like Crenshaw, Kennedy, Dakota Meyer, and so on? Like, what's your opinion?
Are you saying they're for red flag laws?
Yes, they
Four.
are.
Yeah. Well, let me give you guys. Who else here is a veteran? I know. Yep.
I am.
So let me give you guys a inside info. Something I don't say to a whole lot of people because I have nothing against veterans. Obviously, I am one. I don't want to talk them down, but here's just the truth. The majority of guys in the military don't know shit about the Constitution. Don't know shit about what's going on in politics. They're just like the average population, except they're of a certain, profession, so to speak. When I was in the Army, I was in the JAG Corps. I was the voting assistance officer. I was the tax assistance officer. So, I mean, I've always been heavily involved in current events and politics, and most of them couldn't have an intelligent discussion with you about any of it. So, that being said, when you get a Crenshaw and a Dakota Meyer, especially a Crenshaw who went in, spent his whole adult life doing military, was SEALs, was an officer. People don't understand this. The military is the most tyrannical organization there is and can be, and by design, and it should be. I got no issue with that. But when you grow up, and that's how the framework of your brain is designed, you think in terms of top-down tyranny and directives and orders and dumbing everything down to the lowest dumbass private. It's a reason. I mean, Humvees don't have keys for a reason, because they'd never be able to find them. So these guys get out of the military, and thank God they do what they do. Thank God for Dan Crenshaw and all that he sacrificed and all that he's done. But he doesn't understand fucking liberty. He didn't have a clue. He's
because he was a soldier. See, that's another thing that they put on there. I have people all the time. Are you a veteran? And I say, yeah. And they say, well, thank you for your service. And I'm going, don't thank me. I never did anything for you. I didn't. I was in Germany. Well, how was I doing anything for you in Germany? I wasn't.
I would disagree with you there, brother.
I mean, no, the reality of it is what I've come to find out. That's a whole nother deep subject. But this idea, this illusion that there are actually nations, that is an illusion because there aren't. We have a one world government with the illusion of national sovereignty involved. There's too much to support. I mean, you mean everybody in the world agreed that a virus that nobody's seen, nobody had visualized or isolated was real. They also all agreed that an experimental vaccine should be used on their population. Really? And the few that didn't agree, well, they happened to get assassinated and replaced. I mean, it is these important people going down to the Bay of Disappointment. It's not called that anymore. It used to be called in Antarctica. Disappointment. What does that mean? I disappointed you from an appointment. Why are they going there? What's going on really? But you can see that's plain. That's plain, and they put this illusion of national sovereignty on us so that we'll stay distracted from that. But it's plain to see if you really look outside the box that we already have a one world government. We're just under the illusion that it's not there yet.
Certain aspects I would agree with.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to catch that. Sorry, guys. My computer went dead, and I had to actually get it plugged in real fast. But so, Tom, bits and pieces up here. He's getting ready to start training with me. We're going to do some stuff to kind of do some boxing and so on and so forth like that. And he has been
jiu-jitsu too.
What is it now?
Train jiu-jitsu too.
Absolutely. We're going to do some grappling. There's no doubt. So,
there you go.
But he's definitely that's where we're going to start.
Time stopped. It's time stopped wherever educators at just for like this long. And then came back.
You guys got me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, you're good.
5x5, bro. 5x5.
Okay, let me get my ears on here. I can barely hear you.
So these two blank spaces on my screen, those have people behind them?
One in the middle and the one up there that don't have people on them. Yeah, there's people in there.
Okay. So they're just audio.
Yeah, they're just doing audio.
Oh, okay.
They ain't got the makeup on for tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just not pretty enough to show my face tonight.
All right, so I couldn't hear you guys there, so sorry about that. Let's see right here. Okay. All right, so anyway, we're gonna do some training and stuff, and the reason I brought him on is he is actually an Ironton guy too. I don't know if you're actually familiar with his channel or not.
Yeah.
I am. So his videos are hilarious.
I'm telling you. So and this is kind of where all this started for it was with Bits. He kind of changed his content a little bit based on our unwelcome visitor. If that makes sense. Recently, we've had that talk before, but and that's kind of where we're going with that. So, and the reason I brought that up was because since we have Scumdog up with us, I thought we'd talk a little bit about fight training. Scumdog, what do you got to say on that?
Fight training?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Just he said he's starting out with boxing, which is good. The only thing I'd say is like when I started training, actually like 20 years ago when I started wrestling, it was hard. It was hard to a point where I wanted to quit. And you know, one of my coaches, he told me, he goes, you know, Rome was never built in a day. Rome's not built in a day. You have to walk with 1 foot forward, you know, take your time. And then I wound up getting better and better and better as days go on. Trust me, like I said, there were times where I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? You know, because there were guys there that wrestled since they were like knee higher than a duck. You know what I mean? Like, I honest to God, like, they were born with wrestling shoes coming out of the womb. Like seriously. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you this. When I very first started training jiu-jitsu, you know, I went in and I was a big, strong guy. And I thought, you know, man, how hard can it be? I'm freaking massive. I'm strong. And I heard this from a guy when I very first started training. It made sense after I realized in jiu-jitsu, you spend the first 1.5 to 2 years
getting injured,
realizing that you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you're becoming a victim. And then it takes about 1.5 to 2 years before you realize that everything you thought you knew about grappling or wrestling, so to speak, is out the door. It doesn't do anything. So, and those, you know, I remember walking in and just thinking, gosh, like I had no idea that everybody here can beat me up. Like, you know, when I very first started, like, you know, and that's the thing is, and that's specifically jiu-jitsu, but boxing is kind of the same thing. But I will tell you this, and this is something that I've learned from my time, is I have noticed that since the MMA game has come around, that there's a lot more humility in gyms nowadays. You know, when I was a kid boxing, man, you go into a boxing gym, everybody in there had an arrogant attitude. You know, and you don't see that in jiu-jitsu gyms. Like, you know, they're way more willing to help. You know, you got guys that can just mangle you. You know, and Tom, I used to teach for Tom a little bit. And taught some grappling, some combat grappling and stuff for him a little bit. And, you know, I actually had one of our buddies that come over there, and he's a black belt. And he was actually, I had another Brazilian that we trained with that was he was like a 4-stripe brown from Rio. So, you know, legit. And these guys they could mangle everybody, and they're letting everybody beat the crap out of them just for the sake of teaching how beautiful the art is. So, and that's something that I think's changed. And I think that Bits actually kind of chose a good time to actually kind of get into the fight training thing, because, man, I'm telling you, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, man, it was a different attitude. You go in these gyms, man, and people walk around with a chip on their shoulder, you know, and they like beating people up.
There's some that do. Well, I'm not saying that they're members, but I've seen like they're people that walk in, you know, power lifters, bodybuilders, all-American wrestlers, thinking like, oh, I can do this, and they do the week or 2 week trial, and after day 2, of live rolling, I would say out of 5, maybe 1 will come back.
Yeah.
Well, and they always do that strong guy thing too, where you come in and you go about 100 miles an hour for about 15 seconds. You know, and it's always, I'm going to grab you and squeeze real hard. I'm just going to squeeze real hard, and they're exhausted in 15 seconds. You know, and I think that's a big thing too, is realizing that you can't just go in and grab people and jerk them up, because you're going to burn out so fast. You know, you got to learn to, as Bruce Lee said, be like water. You know, you're just going to kind of be.
I like the jujitsu approach to it. Is you let them use their own damn energy against themselves. That, you know, they beat the shit out of yourselves themselves if you move right. And
well, in jiu-jitsu,
I've done that.
Jiu-jitsu is a little bit different too from other grappling arts, like specifically catch can wrestle, because jiu-jitsu is all about position. We've always been taught position, submission. So it actually goes from submission. You always look for where you're at first, and then you look for some way to end the fight. And that's something that's not taught, especially in wrestling. I mean, if you've ever trained with wrestlers that are high school wrestlers or college wrestlers, man, they're just brutal. I mean, they're just, you know, they're so fast to try to power through everything, and then you end up catching them. In, you know, Darce choke or something that they don't expect, because they're like, what the hell just happened? You know, so,
and I gotta be honest,
that's all I think about is.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I gotta be honest with you. Like I said, I wrestled all through high school, and I wrestled 2 years after high school for a club team for freestyle. And I hate rolling with wrestlers. I absolutely hate rolling with wrestlers.
I still do,
because
I still roll with wrestlers.
I mean, they will put it on you, and it's just like my strategy is I'm gonna wait till you're gonna gas out, and then once you gas out, I got you.
That's what rope-a-dope was, ain't it? That's what rope-a-dope was with Ali. He let that sucker wear himself out, man, and then just fucking wailed him, man. That was it. I watched that live on TV.
And I'll tell you, the biggest thing. What are you drinking, Tom? I'm curious.
It's a half of a Peg Leg Stout and half Blue Moon.
Why is it so dark? If it's got,
it's a mixed drink.
Dude, I mixed it with Blue Moon, and it's still that dark. I drink a lot of stouts and porters and rich, dark, deep flavored stuff, and this one maxed me out. I had to go get a 6-pack of Blue Moon to cut it a little bit. It was. Hey, do me a favor.
Heavy. Everybody that's in the chat right now, just give me a 1 or a thumbs up so I see who's actually still paying attention. Let's see who's in there with us. But I want to, and that's what, back to what you were saying, Scumdog, when you train with wrestlers, oh my gosh, like brutal scramble, yep. push, fast, hard, you know, and then next thing you know, they're tired, and it's like, oh, okay, you didn't know what an omoplata is? Well, this is what it is. Yeah, I know you got top position, but you know, so
because
you know, and I'm going to try to
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm just going to say that I'm going to try to get Bits to kind of transition into that a little bit too, because it's really an all around thing. Now my fight training that I've been training since for the Moron has been very heavily jiu-jitsu based, you know, because that's my thing now. But you know, I still do a lot of kickboxing type stuff too. So you know, we're going to stand up pretty hard, because it'd be nice to be able to knock him out.
With him.
Oh, please.
So there's no question that he has some sort of wrestling. I mean, we saw
he's got some qualifiers right here. I've seen her.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's I think Masshole Report put up like a photo of him like in high school.
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like fourth grade, but that was probably like 30 some years ago. So
right.
I'm almost for sure that he, after like high school or whatever, he just stopped wrestling. He didn't wrestle anymore. So
right.
I think the Power Ranger training was pretty intense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that the Power Ranger training was probably overwhelming.
So
But
I'm almost for certain that he didn't wrestle right out of high school. I'm almost positive.
no, I don't think so.
But then again, that he went to high school like 30 years ago. The wrestling,
Right.
whether it's scholastic, freestyle, Greco-Roman, the past 30 some years, it has evolved. I mean,
He lies. He lies about every goddamn
Mhm.
thing. Everything is 20 this and 20 that. 20 years ago, 20 cops that came in my house, 20, this and 20 that. It's part of that Rain Man
Mhm.
shit he's got going on.
Yeah.
Well,
Some kind of Rain Man shit, like,
so-
time for Wapner, and he's like, hit the button, hit
So-
that button right there. Just
So
Well,
let me tell you this. Like, I've noticed something too about him too that I picked up on. As he talks about his training, he always shoots for the stars about what he's done. Like, he's always like Lions Den. No, you didn't train at the Lions Den. I've talked to some guys that have.
You mean at the
really are
glory
affiliated,
hole?
and I'm-
What are you talking about?
the kitty cat
different
club.
Lions Den, different type of Lions Den.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
that he
he may be,
talks
talking
about that
about
stuff.
the one I mentioned, though.
Well, maybe. No, he says he actually mentioned Ken Shamrock by name. So,
All right.
But anyway, so he says this stuff, right? But the truth of it is, Shamrock's already blatantly said, no, I don't know who this guy is. And I've talked to some other guys, and I don't know if you've ever actually seen what it took back then to actually get affiliated with the Lions Den, but oh my God, like brutal. Like some of the
Oh yeah.
just to be accepted into the actual fight club was unreal, like beyond any physical. Like I was reading, I was like, there's no way that they could really push that, because even when I was in super fight shape as a young guy, my God, there's no, like it was seriously like almost unhuman to be able to pull off some of that stuff.
You know how that whole thing got started is like being a big sport. I remember when I was a kid and they had it in Detroit at the Pontiac Silverdome a few times, and a guy died. And so they really had to revamp what was going on. It was called the Tough Man Contest. And what they would do is they had that cage like that. And if you thought you was the biggest, baddest bar fight dude in the area, you sign some papers, you go in there and you show what you can do. And I'm telling you what, man, it was just like bar fights, man. There was everything allowed. There was like no rules. And there was a guy died, and they had all kinds of problems from it, and they had to revamp it. And eventually MMA as a big sport came from that, man. But that was really something. I went to a Tough Man contest and saw it, and I was like, this is insane, man. This is like gladiator shit, man.
They call it Vale Tudo. They call it Vale Tudo in Brazil. It means basically nothing is back then, when Helio Gracie was taking those gym challenges on and stuff. They didn't have rules. They basically and they had no times. Like some of those jiu-jitsu, well, they weren't really jiu-jitsu. They were
no time. So
back then they had no rules. They had no time. They would fight for 3 and 4 hours nonstop, no bells, no rounds, nothing. Somebody quits. And then when the Gracies actually are the ones that created the UFC. And they done that as a marketing strategy. It had nothing really to do with putting a new fight. What they really wanted to do is they wanted to sell jiu-jitsu to America. So what they done was they basically tested everybody else's skills against theirs so they could sell it. And that's all it was about. They knew Royce was going to win for UFC 1. And that's kind of where all that comes, because they were selling a product. And essentially, so but it's
weren't the only rules in the beginning no biting and no eye gouging?
No biting, no eye gouging. There's actually a fight you actually see one of the fighters. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'm a big UFC guy. Where I guess it was in a one of the guys in like a guillotine, and he was like basically punching him in the nuts over and over again to break that hold.
Oh my God.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I watched, me and my dad, actually my whole family, we watched like the first 4 or 5 of them on pay-per-view at the house. So that was back when it was Tank, some guy named Tank. I'm not into this as much as you guys.
Tank Abbott.
Yeah, Tank and Royce Gracie. That's only 2 I remember, but I remember there was always blood, except for when Gracie was in the ring, and then it was just slow motion.
Yeah. Well,
We'll
but
step
you know,
away for just a minute.
sure, sure.
Oh wait, you gotta hit Gia's. Gia put up a really nice little comment up there. It says, "What a handsome panel." That was nice. That was nice. Thank you, Gia.
Absolutely. But you know, and things have changed a lot, you know, because now we see MMA as actually a training discipline. You know, back then, my discipline versus your discipline. You know, my boxing versus your grappling or whatever. And that's since changed. Now it's everybody's trained. You know, the basics of MMA now are boxing / Muay Thai kickboxing or Dutch style kickboxing, wrestling and jiu-jitsu. That's usually what you train, and that's basically what we train in the gym. Is basically it's like Dutch style kickboxing, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. So, and those
who remembers old wrestling? Old wrestling. I'm talking about like from the 60s and 70s. None of you. I got to meet this one wrestler that I watched on TV with my grandfather all the time because my grandfather was real big and he had to shop at a big and tall store. And they had this huge black dude named Bobo Brazil. And this guy was like almost 8 feet tall. He was a monster. And I got to meet him and got his autograph. I was just a little kid. So he really looked big to me, man. That was really cool.
Bobo Brazil.
Yeah, you can look him up on the internet.
Do you know the history of wrestling and professional wrestling? It actually started. Well, no, it actually started. Professional wrestling actually started in Lancashire as Lancashire Wrestling, Catch as Catch Can Wrestling. And what they'd done was they would set up and they would say, basically it was a tough man contest between minors. You know, they would all be working together and they'd be like, oh, you know, I'm stronger than you, I'm tougher than you. And they would wrestle in order to be able to see who was the toughest and place bets on it. And that's where the old term "say uncle" come from, because that's when that's how they knew who was the winner, is when somebody would yield and say uncle. And that started marketing and they started making money off of it. And then they realized when it got involved with the circuses and stuff that they would actually save a lot of pain and agony by just setting the matches up to already have the outcome made up so that everybody could benefit from it. And then it just kept progressing and progressing and progressing. And now we have WWE. So
I'm trying to pull up the picture of this guy and I can't get it.
That's another one of those proves that everything in the universe tends toward decay.
But then there's rebirth from that decay. Ordo Novus Seclorum.
maybe.
That's how it always the Phoenix. It's always the Phoenix because out of destruction becomes new things. Always. A forest fire, a fire burns down a forest, and you get all new greenery comes about really fast. All the carbon in the soil. It's amazing. We see a lot of people. That's why a lot of people I see them say, "Oh my God, the end is near." I don't say that. I say the beginning is near.
Hopefully.
You know, I think that's a better way to look at it. I don't know if I can do this. There we go.
But for anybody who's actually curious about anything that's going on with that, just a reminder, and I mentioned this the other night, but July 9th is actually the signing. I don't know if this guy's going to show up.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Are you coming? Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm leaving out of here the afternoon of the 8th and coming down there. I'll be there the evening of the 8th. It's only about 5.5, 6 hours from me. And
okay.
Yeah, so I'll be staying the whole weekend, going back Sunday afternoon, and you know.
Okay.
Where are you?
I'm in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia.
Oh.
Chad, I put a thing down here. I think you have.
I don't think
it's. Put it up.
I don't think it's going to let me.
It's a.
Is it just a picture?
It's pictures of that guy I was talking about, that Bobo Brazil character.
Let me see if it'll let me.
Just to show it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a pretty bad looking dude, man. He was rough, and he got even rougher as he got older.
He looks like one of the Brazilian Vale Tudo fighters. I think his name is Zulu.
Yeah.
That
was Hickson's big fight.
Yeah. Did you read his book?
I'm sorry.
That's Hickson Gracie's one of his rivals was Zulu, and it was he talks about it in his book. That's a good read.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is everybody talks about jiu-jitsu being this gentle art, but it's not. It never was designed to be. Actually, when Haleo really started perfecting it, they actually used to go around and test it by fighting other gyms and proving that they could beat people's ass. So it was actually always meant to be able to beat people up and to go around and prove it, because that's what they used to do in Brazil all the time. And things kind of went that way because of that. So, take it for what it's worth, but it's that technically the word jiu-jitsu actually means the gentle or easy way in some translations. But it's not easy and it's not gentle. It's pretty brutal at times. So, but nevertheless, like my old instructor used to say, so I started training jiu-jitsu because I got tired of getting punched in the face. Yeah, that kind of does make a little bit of sense.
I don't think Chili trained that much jiu-jitsu at all. I think he did a 2-week trial, got cauliflower ear, thought he was a tough guy, and then said, I'm going to go ahead and change the world with my game.
Well, he's I think it's beyond that. I think he says he wrestled a little bit of freestyle type stuff. I know a lot of those freestyle guys don't wear the headgear, so it's very possible he kind of mangled him a little bit there. I don't know. But, just like I said, and I'll say this again, and I promise, and I'm going to give everybody, we don't have that many in the chat right now, but I'll give everybody this promise, okay? I promise you that at the end of this fight, if Chili's wrestling done anything, I promise I will wake his ass back up and congratulate on him on how good his wrestling actually done and how well he got choked out.
You're so generous.
I'm so humble, Tom. Just ask me.
Magnanimous. I know, man.
I'm just,
how tall is he to you?
I've met you.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, Chili's. I'm 6'2".
Oh, Christ. That little midget's only, 5'4" or some shit, isn't he?
He's like 5'7".
I'll tell you what, I'm 5'4", and he's just an inch or two taller than I am.
Yeah, he's way small. There's one video where you can actually see us side by side. The one where he went to city council. If you watch his video where he went to city council, you can see him walk by me, and he's basically up to about my shoulder.
Right.
Yeah, he's going to be mangled. I mean, it's not even on.
He better not try to look like Decatur in the eye or get a crank in his neck.
I think for the sake of others that are here right now that maybe suffer from the same affliction, maybe we should be a little politically correct and refer to it as vertically challenged rather than
Anthony.
short.
What's up? Anthony, you want the link? You want to come up?
Gia said she could take us all on.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
That leaves a lot of open for interpretation, Gia. You should specify. No.
It's in that kind of stream.
I'll tell you what. I don't know. Here's the thing: is I'm just going to level with you. Chili can't outbox me. I know he can't outbox me. He's not big enough to be able to outbox me. He's not got to reach enough, and he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have any stand up, in my opinion. And I'll be honest. I think literally in any day of the week, I'm going to beat him on the ground too. So, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be. I'm going to make my prediction. It's going to be fast.
I picture you, Chad. I see you just like holding the top of his head while he's just swinging wildly and just standing there, letting him go.
Yeah, well, let's
P. Sherman said the audio was horrible.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Probably some feedback.
Yeah, somebody's got an echo. Does somebody have the
Your audio's horrible.
Does somebody have the actual stream up behind it like a YouTube channel, because it's going to echo if you do?
I shut mine off long ago.
Mine's muted.
Okay. But anyway, I'm actually curious. Let's see. We got 20-some people right now in the chat plus the panel. I want everybody right now to make a prediction. I want everybody to make a prediction. Is it going to be, if he shows, okay, I don't want to hear anybody say he's not going to show, okay? Just for the fun of it, entertain me.
Mm-hmm.
If he shows, I want to hear predictions. Is it going to be knockout, tap out, TKO, or we'll say a decision? That's your choices, and you got to pick a winner and the way it's going to finish. I'm curious.
I'm going to think outside the box here, and I'm going to say he quits on the stool after the first round.
Okay.
I was thinking he's going to tap out.
Okay.
Yeah, probably before the match even starts, just at a guess.
Exactly.
I think my prediction is too jaded by wishful thinking. I want to see that. I want to see him have to tap out. I want to see that fucker's red face down on the mat and have to tap out. That's what I want to see.
God, that would be so perfect just to see that, him crying.
I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
he's not training. He's not.
I mean, if
training
you
at all.
knock him out right off the bat, that's just like, oh well.
Well,
okay.
he's already set the
not
tide for
as
that too. Have you guys
gratifying.
noticed that? Have you guys
What is
noticed
it?
he's actually already set that up? He's actually saying, "Oh well, he's got a puncher's chance. He could possibly knock me out. And I'll just get lucky." So that's
I
kind of why
see.
I want to go in and I just want to go in and shoot a double on him and take him down and literally just work on him a little bit, but maybe not.
Chad, I'd
I'd
see you
prefer
work
to-
like a cat. I would like to see you work like a cat with their prey. How they dick around and play with that little fucker before they finally take it out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sorry. I just think that this man, if karma's going to get him anyways, but I think that he needs to be really humiliated. I
Hey,
mean,
Dennis.
this man, you need to make him cry.
After the stunt he
said,
pulled the other night, I was like, no, I like, because I don't like to say I hate people, but after the last video in Arizona with those two cops pulling over a drunk driver,
Oh God. Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I can't anymore. And kudos to those two officers, man. They showed that to me, I mean, and we're in the state where I live in, and my mother's worked for the police department for years now. I know for a fact if he would have pulled that same shit he pulled in that video here where I live, PC all day, he'd have been locked up.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, too. It's like, I don't understand his logic. Is like, he walk up to a police officer when they're doing their job. It's like, don't talk to me. I'll federally sue you. Federally. Like,
I know.
dude,
I know.
It's like, dude,
he's a lawyer and a constitutional scholar. Don't question him.
Well, he's got it on his shirt. It says it
First
on
of
his
all,
shirt. Like, is
me
there
just-
a constitutional scholar in the house?
Let me
Hang
just
on,
remind
hold
you
on.
guys. I just want to remind you guys, okay? First of all, we're all peasants, okay? So watch your tongue. Don't take his name in vain, okay? We have to remember that he is a constitutional scholar. He's a genius and everything. He really, honestly, he doesn't fail at anything. Everything he does, he succeeds and he knows everything. I've never seen anybody like him. He's
Let's go down
he's
the
47
list.
years old and knows everything. Oh,
Let's go down the
here we
list.
go.
He's obviously been allowed to get away with whatever he wants, have his way. This was his upbringing. And if you remember the old Twilight Zone episode, it had Billy Mummy from the Lost in Space on it. And all the adults were afraid of this fucking kid because he'd wish him away into the cornfield if they pissed him off. And it's almost like he grew up. I mean, he's like that Billy Mummy. He must have been able. Nobody ever said no. Stop that stupid shit. I mean, he admitted on one of the streams with Freeman, he said, I used to lie all the time and I had to make a concentrated effort to learn to stop lying. And it's like, well, you've relapsed. You relapsed.
Yeah. I want to address something real fast. I want to address something.
My name is Chili and I'm a liar.
Yeah.
Dennis says, am I going to give Mr. Transparency a Superman punch? I am honestly, I swear to you, I thought about that. I thought, man, what do you do if I just come out there and literally just Superman punch him right off the bat? But here's what I want to do, Dennis. I just want to leg kick him because I don't think he realizes what MMA really is until he gets leg kicked a few times on the outside of the thigh. And I think he's going to say, oh, shit, I'm in the wrong place. This don't feel like a wrestling match anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, Chad, why I want tap out. Because I think because of the genesis of all this, why this is all happening in the first place, and his harassment around the country of other people, I think he needs to consciously surrender.
Right. I think that's what other people are getting to. Hey, guys, I'm bringing up Anthony.
A form of ego death. That's what I was talking about last night about it. That he really, I would love to take him on a spirit journey for that very reason. I wouldn't have to beat his ass to give him ego death. His spirit would do that to himself.
Hey, does anybody want to step down for a minute? Because I'm at my max.
I'm gonna head on out.
Okay.
I've
All
got.
right, Tom. I appreciate it. Tom, I'm gonna get with you this week, and we'll actually do a full stream together. And we can talk about this if you're up for it.
Okay, sounds
I'm
good.
gonna
All right.
I'm gonna promote your guys' site. I just put it as a post on my YouTube
Awesome. Thank you very much.
community page. And yeah, I want to tell some friends of mine around here too, because that's an issue. You know, we don't have that happen.
Well, since you brought that up, we're spreading nationwide. I'm going out to Arizona in a couple days to teach foundations out there. Oklahoma has invited us. We're talking Florida and Texas.
Awesome.
So we're in the process of spreading. So yeah, you know, I'll come on your channel and let people know about it for you too. Anybody, I don't care.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Because
Hey, thanks, Chad. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great
nice
idea.
to meet you guys.
Thanks for coming up, Tom. See you, buddy.
Thanks, Tom. It was nice to meet you.
Yes,
See
sir.
you, Tom.
I think we need, though, and societally, with a lot of our problems and stuff, though, we have a tendency to attack the symptom and not really look at the cause. You know what I'm saying? It's we really do. We look at the symptom and we don't really look at what's the root cause of why are these things occurring. It's not that everybody has guns, for instance. It's not that. It's people, because anybody with any brains knows that it's not the weapon, it's the heart behind it.
There you go.
It is the heart behind it. So what's wrong with so many people's hearts that they would be willing to just do things like that? You know, that's where we need to look at.
A bullet can't be fired without a human hand.
That's right.
Hi guys, how's everyone doing?
Anthony, how are you, my friend?
I'm feeling a lot better. I'm getting back into the groove. Things are coming back. You know, I've been blessed the past couple days, and I'm feeling a lot better. And I just personally want to thank Leducator and Terry for both being there for me in a tough time of need. I really needed you guys, and thank you very much.
Man, you don't have to thank me
I
for
don't know
that.
how I could ever repay you for being for me at a time of need like that. I really don't.
Hey, I don't
brother, you don't have
know
to
about
thank me.
Leducator, but I'm not looking for repay, man. We're a community. It's what we do. We stick together.
Yep.
That's right.
Oh yeah, man. Including since we got a very important day, July 9th, coming up very quickly, guys. I'd just like to give everyone a quick reminder. I will be having a morning live stream, so if you guys are available, Bits and Pieces, by the way, big fan, huge fan, dude, and I'm kind of fangirling here being on panel with you. But yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well,
That's
it's
awesome.
big day too. I will
Frankie
be
in the house. What's up, Frankie? You doing good, bro?
I will be also extraditing Chili Dal Castro to Ironton on the 9th.
Oh really?
Yes, absolutely.
You gotta send me some pictures of that doll, man, because I think I want to get my hands on one.
Oh yeah, my wife's making more of them.
I'll take them on adventures. I'll take them on little chili adventures. We'll go. I live, 20 minutes outside New York City. It would be just funny to go and take a picture of him, like on the Jersey City docks in front of New York City. They're like, I bet the real Chili wishes he could be here.
Like
Well,
Flat
but there's a
Stanley,
problem.
like that.
There's a
Flat
problem with
Stanley
that,
thing
though.
they did.
You have to remember, Anthony, there's a problem with that. That doll's not the scale. It's way too big.
I know, right? I'll have to do something to make it look, to make it look right, to make him
downsize
fit the height. Yeah, I'll have to do some editing.
Low camera shots like he uses.
I tell people all the time, I would love to see him try to come I'm from and I live in New Jersey. I've watched quite a few auditor videos out of New Jersey. Police here do not take it very well, including when it comes to the aggressive frauditors, and New York police do not take that very well. They have this guy called Eli out in New York City who just causes trouble everywhere. He tried to audit the German embassy at one point. So they do not like it up here. They're hard nosed, which I like.
Right.
This is
So, if Chili's out there listening, why don't you come to New Jersey, buddy? I'd love to see you try.
Oh Lord Almighty!
And if you don't think I won't be there
by
filming,
the way,
you don't know me.
Did anybody watch? I just noticed that Mark said that about the Irish Demon. Somebody's actually posing to be Mark on there. It's got a fake account of his name. But did anybody watch his stream today where that guy was up there at that Creepo guy at the park? Did you guys watch that?
Oh, I watched part of that.
I didn't get a chance to I did not get a chance to watch. I did see that it was up, but I was busy doing something else at the time. I of course put it in mental mode in my head to watch it later.
So
Yeah,
the weird
like
thing
it's good.
Oh, I was going to say, like, the guy was a known chomo, wasn't he?
Oh boy.
Yeah. I think that's the deal. Yeah.
There was actually another video I watched from Unclean Hands where the guy's the same thing. He's a chomo, and he was trying to audit a post office in a privately owned building this time. And the police. It was so. You guys got, if you guys have not seen Unclean Hands video today about this guy, it was kind of funny, but like, you know, I still felt frustration because it's like, dude, they told you 9 different times that it is a privately owned building. That the building manager was telling the guy, no, privately owned space, they just lease. And he goes, yeah, but if you lease, that means you're a government building. And they're like, no, we're not. We have other businesses in this building that are not affiliated with the government. We're a privately owned business, and the post office leases this space. I'm the office man. I'm the building manager. I can tell you to leave whenever I want to. And the guy just would not do it and continue to have an argument with the cops all the way outside.
I want to clarify again. I want, because we've addressed this several times and people don't seem to understand that. It doesn't matter. You can still be trespassed from a public building. I don't know why that is so hard for people to understand. Oh, you can't be trespassed. Yes, you can. When you elect your leaders.
But there are requirements for the trespass to be affected.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
You can't just be because, oh, I don't like the way that guy looks, or that guy gives me the creeps, or any other thing like that. You can't do that. And not being able to turn a constitutionally protected right into a crime, you kind of get stuck in a quagmire. That post office being inside of a private building, only the area of the post office is actually considered public property because that is tax supported. But outside of that, it's almost like an incorporated.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. The guy never got close to the post office. He's filming. The main thing that I saw in that video is he's filming a private business, because right behind the lady is a coffee shop. That coffee shop is not affiliated with the U.S. government. It was a private entity renting, leasing space in that apartment. He's not filming the post office. He's now filming a private business, and he kept saying, "Well, this is a public building." No, it's a privately owned building. If you want to film the post office, that's right there. This isn't owned by the government. This is a privately owned space. And she told him that.
Doesn't it still fall under the plain view doctrine? I mean, you can't trespass the eyes. So how can you trespass the camera?
You know, you're right. You can't trespass the eyes, but you can trespass the person.
Right, but for what? For what?
Well, because he was on private property at the time.
Because he was on private property and was told numerous times by the building manager to leave that property. Yeah, he was still on someone else's property. If he was on in a federal building, then I could understand the argument. But it was a privately owned building, privately owned.
He could have walked into the post office and been safe. But
but he didn't. He stayed in that private area where there were other businesses there and not the post office. So really, he was trying to audit the building, because even the police told him to go to this website. The county assessor will tell you whether the building is privately or publicly owned. And he refused that. He kept refusing. No. I did my research. And the police were like, well, obviously not, because if you ask the county assessor, he will tell you that this is not a public building. It's privately owned.
It's so easy to figure out. All you have to do is just ask yourself one simple question: who pays for it?
Exactly.
Well,
there it is. Whoever's paying for it, that's who has say on it. And if it's tax money, well, then that's you. If it's not, then it's whoever's paying the money on it.
Even at that still does not give you the right to, but you can still be trespassed. Let me give you a prime example. If you go into a public building that closes at 5 o'clock, like in Ironton, you can be trespassed for being there past 5 o'clock. I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. When you elect leaders to actually go in there and they lead, and they're like the mayor or the chief executive officer of that city, the people of Ironton, in which own that building, gave him the rights as a stewardship over that building. And when he sets that policy and says it closes at 5 o'clock, that means that property is closed at 5 o'clock. So
that's what I told him. I said that in his chat. I said that in his chat a million times when he's saying, "Oh, and I was arrested for protesting." I was like, "No, you were arrested for criminal trespassing."
Yeah, absolutely.
We got 5 o'clock. You didn't have authorization. Over.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Who's that there? Can't really. Oh, that's cool.
the new ones in the chat, they can check that out too. How about nope?
Nope. We covered, so earlier I was on Mando Mike's live stream, and we covered the DHS memo that a lot of frauditors have been bringing up about things. That memo, from what I read, only covers the exterior federal buildings. And it says, unless there's a certain court order, a federal court order, or certain security committees that to take care of that facility, say that there can't be photographs or anything from that. That's what I got from that. Filming outside is fine. It's when you try to go in and there's, let's say you go into a federal courthouse and there is a court order from the judge saying you can't film, that's valid. That's what that DHS memo says. That's a valid reason for them.
Courtroom and a courthouse are not the same thing, and a courthouse is not a courtroom is only a courtroom when a judge is present.
They specified courthouses, not courtrooms. They specified courthouses. So if the specificity of courthouses is in that paperwork, that's what I'm going to go with.
Hey, Scott, by the way, happy birthday to your child.
Yep, happy birthday to the little one, Scott.
Oh,
birthday.
Oh.
Hey, Captain, I got a quick question. I'm actually not a question. I just wanted to say, when for some reason I stumbled on Chili's YouTube, probably about maybe a week or two before he came to Ironton, and then when he came to Ironton, I have to say, you, Chief, McKnight, you guys showed so much restraint. I tip my hat to you, because I'm telling you right now, the time's coming. He keeps going around saying, "Oh, little piggies." He's going to come across that wild boar, and it's not going to be pretty.
My thing is when he goes around with his racial gaslighting, he's going to reach the wrong man of color, and that man of color is going to knock him out with what he does. It's just because there was that live stream he did in Houston where he was at the club and he was complaining about the cops being there. Those guys, you could look at the face on those guys. Most of those guys do not want to speak to him.
No.
You know, after the things he say, they look at him, they're like, what is the heck up with this guy?
Well, we got a heads up last night on my live from Tina, saying that she had heard there's a BOL and not by police on a vehicle matching Chili's in the Santa Monica, LA area going on right now.
Well. He made it to California. I guess he uses cocaine energy to get there quick. Allegedly, I don't want to make that blanket of a statement. Sorry, but allegedly.
I've driven from here to California in a day and a half.
Well, I made it from Florida to Maine in 2 days. So that was a 1,600-mile trip. And that's with me and my fiance stopping. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but like he said before in the past, he sleeps like 2 hours a day.
Adderall.
You know, I'd like to
listen.
Yeah, Adderall.
Right, for the record, Chris already done it. So give me just a minute because he brought up something I got to deal with. I'll be right back.
He already got
Warren got hit in the fucking chin, man. He got hit.
Oh my god! I want to buy that guy. You know, I'm not usually one to promote violence or just being that annoying to someone, but I totally want to buy the BB gun shooter a drink.
Yeah, no shit. I think it was an airsoft.
It probably was. It probably was.
Yeah, the guy slowed it down. There was a guy slowed it way down. I forget who it was. I think it might have been the Frog. And he slowed it down to where you can actually see the pellet hitting his chin. And he's like, "Oh, what was that?"
If it was one of those metal BBs, it would have hurt him more.
Oh yeah.
Because I used to do airsoft long ago.
Yeah.
Poppy.
And in the area he's lucky that's all it was, really. I mean, it didn't look
Once again, I'm saying
I'd want to be hanging out at that time of night.
There's a scene where he's there with a group of black gentlemen and he's trying to lay his shtick down, and you can tell they're staring off in other directions. They're not trying to engage at all. He engages with one guy who doesn't know anything, but those other guys, like when he's saying stuff, they're like, yeah, bro, yeah, whatever, man. Like they don't want to engage.
Dog? What up, dog?
Yeah.
I like the Jeffersons and Good Times.
Yeah, you almost expect them to say something like that to him. You almost expect them to go up to a man of color and go, "Dynamite!" At that point, you just punch him in the face.
Give me 5,
Anthony.
bro.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Anthony. Did you see when he was talking to one of our local city council members and kept having to remind him how black he was?
Yes, I did watch that. That was real great to do to somebody. Like the whole time he's spending talking to that council member about like, well, you're black, and his response of, oh, I love it when people who aren't black tell me about black people things. I'm like, dude, that's an awesome response. If I lived in Ironton, I'd vote for you.
Right.
And then also during that conversation, while he was claiming he'd never been in jail, during that conversation, he said when he was in jail, he had worked out with a black guy and got death threats because of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree, Chili is a sad, pathetic little man, and one day he will get his.
Oh yeah. Karma's real, bro.
Karma's real. It comes for you eventually. My thing is watching him in court, because that is going to be the biggest shit show. When he's a plaintiff in court, or when he's defendant in court or plaintiff in court, he's going to make it into a complete. Excuse my French. Shit show.
I'm just hoping to see him as a defendant in the cage with Chad. That's what I want to see.
Oh, by the way, my one, I'm gonna say I want to go for the knockout, but I want to see him tap out because I want to see him beg a little bit.
I want to hear him cry, Uncle.
Well, I got back previous court appearances. He had one, I think it was by phone. He recorded it, and it was either New Mexico or Arizona. And this is the worst I've ever seen somebody come to get in contempt of court in fucking traffic court.
Okay, so his court for when he went after Kate in Masshole, and he went to his first court appearance for that and started threatening the bailiff. I was like, why aren't you in contempt? You're sitting there calling the bailiff a pig. I would have thought as the judge, I would have been like, look, you're either going to show my bailiff some respect, or I'm going to put you in contempt of court. Because his decorum to that bailiff was just uncalled for.
His decorum altogether was uncalled for. He was arrogant.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm surprised the judge put up with his shit.
Yeah, but
here, hit the pause button. He didn't want the judge to hear the rest of him calling cops filthy, dirty pigs and all that other shit. And he's sitting there trying to tell her how to watch this video and shit. Mm-hmm. And she had to keep stopping him and telling him to shut the fuck up so that she could hear the video, And I was like, this guy, he just doesn't learn. He just doesn't learn.
Oh, no. It's not just that. It's not that he doesn't learn. He doesn't. But it's also he is one of those people who thinks he is smarter than everybody in the room. And he's not. He's the stupidest person in the room. But his arrogance doesn't allow him to realize that. He's too arrogant. He's too narcissistic to realize, oh, I'm an idiot and I know nothing. That's just, it's that, I'm assuming Silver Spoon. Exactly. But he's also, Silver Spoon, because I'm gonna make the assumption that maybe he didn't come from a broken home. I'm gonna make that I don't not that for sure, but from what I can see of him, he didn't come from broken. He went to college. The guy's been running schemes his whole life. I'm pretty sure his family either does it or he was a rich kid. It's one of those two.
Arizona State University is not exactly hard to get into.
That's where he went?
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's where he got busted with the GBH, was at Arizona State University. Yeah.
Oh, that's like getting into one of these online universities or something.
Hey, we're having a party. I got into DeVry.
No offense no offense to anybody who went to Arizona State. Just saying, but like for him,
hey guys,
I don't know. Someone paid money.
Guys, let me address a few things here, okay? Saying hi to a few people here. VW Star, hello, how are you? Listen, I got a question. I want to actually run this by a few people here while we're at it here. First of all, the character that I play is the Cobra Kai guy. When I've done a couple videos, first of all, don't get lippy because I'll literally karate chop you right through the screen. but
like AT&T reach out and touch someone.
But you don't even know what kind of ninja I know. I know ninja that you don't even know about.
I was like when you call it ninja.
And I'll tell you right now, too, I've been thinking about y'all shooting me with the damn pellet gun down there when I was trying to ride my tricycle. All I try to do is ride a tricycle down there. Because I was down there starting every bit of the damn trouble. But listen, we name this guy because we got Law Freaking DeCastro, so we want to name this guy. I name for my character, so let's put it in the chat. We're gonna name him, okay? He's got to be some kind of long lost cousin to Chili. What do you think? He's got to be a DeCastro of some sort. He's the hillbilly version, though. He'll be Ninja and all of you now. So
Jim Bob DeCastro. It fits to me.
We got. I'm telling you right now, I'll turn plumb sideways on you.
Remember, educator, we still got his other lawyer, Tony Lowell's, following around somewhere, aren't we?
I know. He's won 25,000 court cases this year.
I know. Yeah, and he's also not only is that he's also Chili's personal dog groomer. You can find him on Craigslist.
Yeah, Dog Walker. Yeah. Dog Walker.
So hey, I know y'all talk about where Chili went to college. I think he graduated from YouTube University. That's what I think.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
just like all the auditors.
Listen, I don't want to believe.
I think they had to burn down the school to get his dumb ass out.
I have a firm belief that Chili doesn't know how to tie his shoes, nor do a lot of his followers either. It's just a lot of Velcro straps.
Oh man, don't be knocking the Velcro straps, man. That's what I cut my teeth on. I use them when I've done my ninja.
So what's something I've been trying to figure out, and a lot of people has been trying to figure out, is what happened to Lyle. I posted that video about him, and he disappeared.
Seriously.
Hey guys, the other night in the chat, somebody said that he went out for just a little bit, but he was going to make a comeback. It was nothing serious. It wasn't their story to tell, I heard, but he was going to make a comeback. It wasn't anything that big, and he'll be back as far as I know. So
Awesome.
Just give it a little bit, and we'll wait on him.
Don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years.
Oh, yeah, don't get me spitting bars.
I don't want to have a rap battle against you, man. I really don't. You'll kick my ass. But you know what? I'd rather you take that and kick Chili's ass.
I'll use my verbal judo and spit bars. I'll come at you like a rat on a Cheeto.
Well, I've definitely have Lyle's number, so whenever he is man enough to
dodge DeCastro.
Dodge.
Because he dodges the law instead of deletes it, right?
Oh God, Scott, good one, dude. Love that.
Well, when he was doing that thing, somebody was talking about that a few minutes ago about the girl that was drunk driving. And look, man, a blind man could see that girl was pretty well gone
for sure.
And he's standing over there, Now, I can see advising somebody that it's not necessary to do those field tests, but you're still going to have to do the BAT. That's just or you don't get the license. And you can go right there. And I suggest it. I highly suggest it. If somebody if you haven't been drinking, those tests really are designed to fail. They're difficult. One of the ways I've seen people get tripped up, the cop asks them to do one of the tests, and he goes, "Are you kidding? I couldn't do that when I was sober." And it's like, oh, you just busted yourself.
So I was once told by a cop that when they tell you to do the alphabet backwards, what you're supposed to respond with is the alphabet backwards.
Oh, that works.
That's what I was told.
I actually used the get out of jail free card from a Monopoly game. This cop pulled me over, and when I was getting my license out, I looked and I remember as I was getting it, I saw it in my wallet, and I thought, you know what the fuck, why not? And so I handed it to the cop. And he laughed his ass off. He said, "This made my night." He says, "Get the fuck out of here. You just went down the road." I was like, it actually worked, man. I was like,
what a move. That's something you go home and you call a friend. You're like, "Look, you are not gonna believe this, dude, but just sit back and relax. It's awesome."
I am the friend that gave it to me because of my frequency to the correctional facility overnight visits. in my past, he was like, "You need to have this," and he gave it to me as a joke, and there it was in my wallet. I'd forgotten about it, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why not? Can't hurt." It actually worked.
So that's so funny. Oh my god, that's great. I used to this was a real funny story, just me messing with people one day. So I used to work for a gas station last. I was working for a gas station, took a break from being a chef. I was like, let me just change it up a little bit. So I was working for a gas station as a cash register. And I had a line of people sitting there, a few guys. It was nighttime, probably around midnight. And I'm standing there and I look at all the guys and I go, "Hey man, you dropped your bag of weed," and all 4 guys look down. And I just fell to the floor laughing, and they're like, and they all look at me and they go, "Oh, that's fucked up," and just start laughing. It was a fun time. I had seen someone do it on TikTok, and I was like, people aren't that dumb. Like, I was gonna fall for that, and I just so happened to see one. Like, let's put this to the test.
Hey, we got Bobby Laws in the chat.
Must be working for the Men's Warehouse, making some
You're working on a suit, like good tie and everything, because I can pick out some good colors.
I don't know. He looked like he was busting out of that last one he was trying to wear. Maybe that's what
Hey man, look, Bobby, I don't want to fat shame or anything, but I'm just saying you might want to work on your physique, bro. Just a little bit. You want to make yourself look a little better when you go to court.
You want to go to the Los Angeles Tent and Awning Company.
Hey, Educator, did you see those new subscriber numbers under your name there, sir?
I have not, actually.
What I'm seeing right now is 804. Congratulations, sir.
Excellent.
Wow.
Thank you, guys.
Hey,
Thank you, guys.
Oh,
I got a
yeah.
question. I got another question
Sure.
for the Cap. During the time Chili was there, and even when he left, did you have pushback and resistance from the community?
No, it's quite the other. It was quite the opposite.
The opposite. I thought so.
For several days after he left, well, for the whole time he was there and after he left, man, we couldn't hardly go into a gas station without somebody wanting to pay for whatever we were getting. I mean, like seriously, everywhere we were getting patted on the back, people saying he's an idiot, don't listen to him, blah blah. I mean, it was, and then as soon as I accepted the fight, oh my god,
seriously. Let me tell you something about that. Right. Chili leaves, right? And here I go start following the cops all through Ironton, and all the damn blue porch lights popping up. I can't tell the difference between blue lights flashing, running down the street trying to look for blue and red lights, man. Hell's far. The whole entire town started supporting them. There's lights popping up everywhere.
I want to mention Bits and Pieces video where you went and encountered him. A lot of people there were not very happy of his presence. I could tell that
they were not.
They did not want him there.
No.
I honestly thought that day. I thought that it was going to go south real quick for him.
But there was going to be a fight between Sweetie's boyfriend that was there, Everett Kent or something like that.
That's what's his name?
The pharmacist.
Was that what he is? Pharmacist?
Former pharmacist or something like that. Street pharmacist.
Yeah, I think he's a street pharmacist. I don't know.
I'm known a few of those.
I mean,
Are you talking about Kent?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe he actually did own a pharmacy. If I'm not mistaken,
Really?
that is a true. Yes, I believe he did
That's
own a
incorrect.
pharmacy.
But he overprescribed some medication that he wasn't supposed to. Correct? Like that's why he's no longer owns pharmacy.
Well, I know that there were charges filed, but they were dropped, and I don't have that complete story, but I do know that there were charges filed and dropped. I don't know exactly what he was charged with, but I do know that they were later dismissed.
Was it a federal charge?
I'm not exactly sure. I would have to go get that paperwork.
A pharmacist cannot prescribe anything. All they can do is fill a prescription.
Well, from what I
have, look, for controlled substances, they have DEA numbers that they have to use. And they're audited all the time and shit. My mom used to work in a pharmacy.
My mother is a nurse practitioner. My mother's a nurse practitioner, and she has to give out prescriptions, and she has a DEA number. But he was giving out during the opioid epidemic, he was just giving out a few more Oxycontins than he really should have been giving out. That's what I heard. I can't verify that, but it's what I've heard. I've heard that's why he's so gung ho. because he thinks he's being prosecuted.
We had
Guys,
a doctor. We had a doctor
in case you
like
didn't
that
notice. In case you didn't notice, Bobby Laws is going to take a court order and get my subscribers giving the chili.
here. There you go.
Okay, good luck on that, dude. My channel name is Anthony Vasquez, Vazquez. Sometimes people misspell it, but yeah, go check me out, dude. Have fun with that.
I'll tell you what, the way he's losing them, he's going to need them.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm a subscriber of Chili's. I'm a subscriber just because I like to see when he's going to come on. I want to see what nonsense he's there. I'll just sit there and kind of let it be in the background just so I can, because when he does his nonsense, I want to be able to, okay, here we go. You know,
I can't do it, man. Like I listen to him for 5 minutes and I seriously just want to like bang my head on a wall. Like he just drives me crazy.
Well, okay,
Kind of makes me want to jump off a very tall building.
you pause it and then let it go for a little while, and then what you do is you put it on like chipmunk speed. It's a lot easier to handle that way.
Oh my god, I'm just gonna start watching every video of his in chipmunk mode.
Dude, it gets right through everything real fast.
I'll get through everything fast, and I'll get to laugh instead of rage at my computer screen.
Yeah, he's just got. Listen, there's very few people in this world that I ever have thoughts of committing violence on or anything like that. But you know how like you have that feeling in the back of your head where you just go, ugh. And something about his face, and he has his face and David Hogg's face. And for some reason, I just want to smash both of their faces together. And
I went to Le Cordon Bleu in Orlando, Florida. That's where I learned my culinary skills from. Actually, learned more of my culinary skills working in restaurants, way more than I ever learned in culinary school. If anyone was ever wondering.
I think that's a common thing because I've done the same thing to the academy. But I went to the academy, the only thing they taught me was how that everybody was going to sue me and everybody wanted to hurt me. And then I got out and I realized I got out and I realized that basically I just got to go around and serve the community and make and you know, I don't even really think about that stuff anymore. Like if you're going to sue, you're going to sue.
I'll tell you, that's refreshing, Chad, because I see a lot of the training and stuff. And like I said, my neighbor, he's a friend of mine, real good friend of mine, and he's a sheriff's deputy. And I talk to him quite a bit. And you know, a lot of the training that the officers are getting now is almost, it's like they're at war with the people. I've heard them say shit like, you know, if you're not ready to shoot grandma or shoot a child, then don't even come back here tonight, because the most important thing is you getting home tonight. You know, and that was evident in Uvalde right there. I mean, what the hell was that? My neighbor, he says there, I don't fuck any order. I don't give a shit. I would have gone. He says there's no way they could have held me back. You know?
So the Uvalde chief of police, he resigned today, correct? Was that yesterday?
Resigned from council.
Damn it.
The council.
All right, guys.
Okay,
So seriously, you guys we're going to have to pass around a collection plate to help me pay for this.
Oh man.
Look, I owe him $55,000 already.
I'll make sure to go out with a collection bucket tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
wait.
Hey, Bobby, Hey, Bobby, you got a Cash App, man? I think that's about the only way they're going to get it to you.
Hold on. Yeah. That doesn't say USD. That could be pesos. That's only about $3.
He wants to charge. He wants to charge us 55,000 clams, like actual clams.
For the record, guys, I'm a policeman, so even if it was $3, I still need a collection plate. Okay, so stop.
Hey, Bob. Maybe it's crabs, and I don't mean Dungeness.
Oh.
Hey, look, Bobby, you know what would be the best thing for you to do? Why don't you take some of that money and give it to St. Jude's? Because they could actually use it, not you or Chili.
Hey, Terry,
I know,
did you put that link in this? Did you put that on the chat, Terry?
That the St. Jude's link?
Yes.
I will right now.
And Terry, I got a question for you. Can y'all hear me?
I'm listening.
Yes,
go right ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. With Tim Lyons and Sarah Page, do they even have a case?
Do they have a case? Well,
Yeah,
I tell you what, I right now it's on order. The documents that I am able to get from the Ironton Police Department, I am waiting on those. Those should be in sometime about middle of this next week. So allow me to get that I have some other stuff from the court. Let me get all the paperwork compiled, and then I'll have a better answer. But
Yeah,
you know,
go
as,
ahead.
as far as having a case, I would doubt it, because 90% of the people that Chili's tried to file a case for really don't much have one.
Wait a
I mean,
minute. Are you
I
trying to
can't
say
say 100%. I'm just saying that as far as I know, it doesn't seem like his batting average is too good.
Right, right. Yeah, I watched the body cam, all the body cam footage that they posted on Tim's YouTube, and I watched it probably like 3 times, and like I'm confused. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to? What lawsuit are you trying to bring up? You were driving without a license. It was suspended. You resisted arrest. Sarah tried to interfere with the arrest. You know what I'm saying? And to a point to where her sister ran across the parking lot to tell Sarah, stop. He did wrong. He's getting locked up. You need to calm down. So
I don't believe that's what their suit is about. I think it's about their allegation is that the police have been stalking them and following them and shit. Isn't it? Isn't that what there was?
Oh yeah, but like if you're like, I think like if you're an officer and if you're assigned to an area or post or sector, I'm not sure what do you call it up there over there, Kat?
it's a beat? We call them beats.
A beat. Okay. Here they call them posts or sectors. If an officer is assigned to that sector, whether it's a small sector or a large sector, they're assigned to that sector. So they gotta patrol. And if you're like, you know, making a left-hand turn without using your turn signal, you're going to get stopped. I'm just still confused on how that's harassment.
Well, I'll tell you what I found so far. I went to the clerk of courts in Ironton, the municipal court, and the paperwork that I have, which is what they told me they had on Sarah. I have one in 2020, one in 2021, and one in 2022. Now, I don't know how much in between all those they've been stalked, but those are the ones that I have for actual cases that actually went through the municipal court. So I'm waiting on everything from the IPD. Like I said, I've got the request in for it, and it should be here sometime this next week.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think they have a case at all. To be quite honest with you,
definitely would be very hard to prove and easy to defend against. I could tell you that.
Well, the first court hearing that they went to, they tried to record, or they were either successful or unsuccessful. But Tim went on the live stream and was like, yeah, the prosecution was trying to use our own evidence against us. I'm like,
that is exactly what they fined him on, was actually their cam footage. That's what they used against him in court. That's why they had to pay the fine.
That's you can do that. That's called disclosure. Okay, each side has to share the evidence they have. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the evidence you have, the other side can use it against you. There's no rules against that. That's no case. That'll get tossed right out. There's nothing there. I used edited dash cam footage that I received from the Arizona police against them. You know, it was obvious the first time they sent me the disc, it was snapped in half in an envelope that wasn't even bent. And then the second time they sent it to me, it looked like a David Selznick production. It was the top cut off and the bottom cut off. It was highly edited, and it was like that they couldn't use any of that. So yeah,
I tell you what, I'm learning a lot watching these auditors on how most of these auditors are pretty stupid, you know, and I can just see how, you know, I tip my hat to these officers that show restraint. You know,
I don't know how.
I hope I show the same restraint. I'm waiting for a call to go into the academy, so I hope I show the same restraint.
Well, I'm just waiting on Chili to, like somebody just said a little bit ago. I forget who it was, but they were saying that you know, one of these days he's going to get the wrong cop at the wrong day. You know. Here's a guy just found out his old lady's cheating on him with his friend and shit, and he's just about had it with every fucking buddy. And here comes Chili with his stupid face running his mouth. You know, it's all over right there on live cam. Now he'll get the most views off that video ever. That or
Well,
crashing his van while
But
he's
you have to
talking.
realize that's his objective. That's what he wants. He wants that.
You think he wants to be a martyr or SBC, a suicide by
I
cop?
really, I think
I
if,
thought that.
Possibility.
I thought
think
that
if
too.
it's not to that level, I think he at least wants to get. I think he wants to get his ass whooped. So he's got a big lawsuit.
Yeah,
I think
but
I have a belief that it's going to be but I have a belief it's going to be a member of the public that's going to attack him before a cop. I really do.
I don't know if he's going by suicide by cop. If he's going to do that, he'd just show up on the 9th and then show up for the fight. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
My
thing is,
hey guys.
Also,
hey guys.
Order, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was about to say my phone just hit 5%, so I got to drop out of here and let it charge. But thank you, Legicator, for having me up here, man. As always, it was good seeing you guys.
Thanks for coming up, Anthony.
No problem. I'm gonna be having a live stream probably tomorrow. If you guys are available, I'd love to have you. Bits and Pieces, I'd really love to have you up, man. Just come hang out with us on my channel.
I'll try to get up there. But it's good to hear
Terry, as always. Yeah, it's Sovereign. Terry, you guys are always welcome, of course. So if you guys want to come hang out, we'll definitely sit there, watch some crazy videos, and talk about them.
Do you know what time you might be on?
I'm thinking around 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay, I'll do my best to be there if I can.
Yeah. If you guys can hit me up, let me know.
Just remind me, Anthony. If you remind me and I ain't got nothing going on, I'll come up, bud.
What happened? I couldn't hear that.
I said if you just remind me tomorrow, and if I ain't got nothing going on, I'll come up.
All right, cool, awesome. I will see you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow then.
All right, buddy.
Later, everyone. Thanks for having me up, guys.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
The thing it's like, what type of all these auditors, they know the police aren't going to do anything when they talk shit to them. To me, that's freaking being a coward. You know they're not going to engage in you.
Did you all see where News Now Omaha, aka Floyd? You know him? He's a black dude that he goes around and acts like a fool and shit. And I swear to God, I'm surprised he ain't been shot because of the way he
got tased down in Florida.
Well, he just got sentenced to 30 days from a case from last year or some shit. I just saw a video pass by my feed a few hours ago, but he got 30 days. That guy's crazy. Now he was hooked up with a couple other of them, and what they did is he was out there acting all crazy, and the other auditors are the ones that called fucking 911 on him to get the cops out there to have the interaction in the first place. Yeah, that was about a year and a half ago or so, man. Because I would watch him, I was like, this dude's gonna get capped on live TV. Watch, he's gonna end up getting capped because he goes around in like looking like a ninja and hiding in bushes and darting around and really acting like overtly acting suspicious.
Is that the guy that always has his hand behind his back like he's reaching for something? Is that
black guy?
Always tries to say his back's itching or something later.
He's a weirdo.
He's got an itchy back, man. He needs to scrub that thing or something.
Yeah.
But he just got a 30-day sentence for some shit from like a year ago. More of that stuff. And it's like, is it really worth that? I mean, look, like I said before, if I think that in a sense, and not in Chili's sense, but a degree of transparency needs to be there, right? Because let's face it, not every cop is good. Not every chef does not spit in the soup. Okay, this is just the reality.
All right, listen. I want to address this. This is something that really, really hits home to me. Okay, the BW Star says, "Why do law enforcement tolerate the sovereign? Because the beauty of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. That's why. Because honestly, because I swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States. I swore to God above that I would protect the freedoms and rights for you and for them." And because I want to know that when I'm maybe out of the position and I'm a little bit older, because I'm not getting old yet. Who said that? Oh, wait a minute, that was me.
No,
but when I'm retired, I want to know that maybe, just maybe, I've passed that on to somebody else, and I want to think that maybe those rights will be passed on, and this will be something that we can continue. That my freedoms and my children's freedoms will be there. That's what I hope.
So you have the freedom, even if you want to be an asshole, that's perfectly free in this country to do.
There's no law against it.
Chad, you just keep going up in my book with respect. Every time I hear you say shit, man, every time. But I want to address VW Star, what you just said, and I want the people to listen to this, okay? Because this is one of my pet peeves, okay? And please do not pet my peeves. And there is no such thing as a sov cit. There is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. You are either sovereign, which means self-ruling, or you are a citizen, which means someone else rules over you. Okay. So get that distinction first of all. I espouse the virtues of self-rule. However, I am subjugated to citizenship because I don't want to have people with guns come to my house and fuck with me. So just stop with the sovereign citizen thing. That drives me up a wall. You're either sovereign or you're a citizen. If you think you're both, you're retarded because it makes absolutely no sense. It's like dehydrated water. You can't have it. I'm sorry.
Hey,
I'm a grammar Nazi.
How about my special brand of auditing? What do you think? You've been out there on the street with me. You know that I filmed your men a lot. What do you think?
To me, and this is just, and once again, I'm by no means an expert, but I'm just going to tell you a logical application. Think about this. If everywhere you go, if you walk up and you engage with somebody and you're just an asshole right off the bat, do you ever think that you're going to get a positive return from that? I mean, seriously, let's think about that. Like, no matter what, let's forget professions. Forget that. If you walk up to somebody, as soon as you walk up to them, you look at them and say, "You dirty pig bastard."
That's human nature. You're going to go, "What the fuck, man?"
Okay, so if you really are wanting something, if you really are wanting transparency, then the best way to do it is to just be silent in the background and observe, because that's where you're going to see. That's where you're going to see the most results. Listen, I'm going to level with you guys something. I don't like bad cops. I don't like bad cops. You know why I don't like bad cops? Because I've worked my hind end off to not be one. And I don't appreciate the fact that if I put that much effort into my profession, I take it seriously. My profession pays my bills and provides for my babies.
They're just bad people. They're just bad people, regardless of whether they're cops or not. That's the thing. They're just bad people. And that's, come on, man. We need to weed those ones out. And we need more Captain Chads, man.
and the truth is we need more Terrys too. I mean, if somebody's going to do this and they want to go this way and they want to actually look into it, then do it. But do it with respect. Do it with kindness. Stay in the background. Observe what you want to observe. I've done my best. Anything that Terry's asked of me, I've tried. You know, I don't have the pull to bet. I'm not the chief, and I don't have the luxury to be able to make all decisions. But if he asks me something, I try to do it. I try to get him the information that he needs. I try to, pass on whatever I can to be able to make sure that we really are being as transparent as possible. Because to me, that's what it's all about.
Well, think about it. Your dash cam provides a form of transparency. I recommend you have them, not so you can film the cop so much, but it's like somebody jumps out in front of your car and you hit them, and then they claim that you jumped the curb and hit them. It's like, no, look, here's what happened. The same thing was supposed to be with body cams. I was really glad to see that. I thought, okay, great. Now the ones that have a tendency to want to act up are not going to act up. The ones that want to plant shit are not going to plant shit, like that. But now we see that it's like a hell or high water to get the footage. And if you do, like in my case, the shit was redacted to a point where it was worthless. So there's another layer of it where we have another view. That's what I agree with. And like you said, observe the shit, but don't get involved with it. It's not,
if you come up to me and ask me anything, if I'm working and you come up to me and ask me anything, safely, respect the fact that I might be doing something, but if I'm not, and I've already cleared a call and you want to come up and ask me something, I'll answer everything I can within reason. I mean, obviously I can't. If it's a pending case, I can't go into details about that. But if it's something that I can answer, I'll answer it. And if I don't know the answer, you know what I'll tell you? I don't know, but I'll look into it and see if I can. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're all in this together. I work for the citizens of Ironton. I do. I work for every single citizen in Ironton, not just the mayor or the police or what everybody thinks. I work for the citizens of Ironton. So ultimately, we're all a great big team down there to get something the best that we can, right? And we have to put it all together like a community. What was the old saying that said it takes a village to raise a child? Am I wrong about how was that worded? Something along
that was
you got it. You got it.
Okay, well, okay, think of it this way. If it takes a village to raise a child, how many more people does it actually take to raise a community?
Well,
If we look at it all together and we say it doesn't take the police, it doesn't take the judges, it doesn't take the fire department, it doesn't take the county commissioners or whatever it takes all of us.
We the people, united we stand. That's how it's supposed to work.
That's exactly.
Hey, listen, when it's a different world now, it's really what made it worse. When I was a kid, we had community in my neighborhood, and like it was nothing for like if I got too close to the road and one of the neighbor ladies see me out there at the road too close to it, come over and grab me by the arm and smack me on the ass and tell me to get away from the road. And my mother did not have a problem with that. She was grateful for the help of that neighbor.
Absolutely.
Now it's like, don't you touch my child, you know.
I'll tell you, I'm gonna share something with you guys that you might kind of get a kick out of. We get calls all the time to go and deal with children that don't behave, and I go in there and I'll walk in and they'll say, oh well, little Timmy here, he does this and this and this and whatever. And my first reply to that is, okay, have you busted his ass? And they'll say, what?
Yeah.
Have you busted his ass real good for him yet? They'll be like, well, you can't do that. Who told you can't do that?
Yeah.
Well, and I've actually told him, ma'am, I'm the captain and shift commander of the City of Arlington Police right now, and I'm in charge. And I'm telling you right now, whoop his ass because he needs it. Because there's a difference in discipline and abuse.
Right.
When you don't discipline your child, the Bible even says if you spare the rod, you'll spoil the child. And if we were to work together as a community and actually say, you know what, when you see little Timmy out and the little shit's out there tearing somebody's stuff up, you go over and snatch him up and take him to his mom and dad and he gets dealt with, then I won't have to deal with him when he's a grown man. And
see, I still do it. There's this outlet store we have down here and they got a really cool book section. And I was standing there in the front of the book section. I'm looking at these books and this little son of a bitch comes running back and forth, pulling books off the shelf as he runs by. And I just stopped him. I just grabbed his shoulder and I just stopped him and I went, hey, real loud like that. And he looked up at me. I said, pick that shit back up and put it right back where you found it. What's wrong with your mind, child? And his mom's standing over there looking at me and I says, you weren't going to do it. Somebody's got to.
Hey, guys, I got a really funny story. My uncle was in a laundromat. And there's like a 7-year-old kid that's running through the place, grabbing people's laundry. At one point, he even grabbed my uncle's shorts and had him on his head running through the place. And a little bit later, as my uncle's gathering up his stuff after this kid spread it, he walks over to this, and it must have been this kid's grandmother because she was an older lady and she looked like a poor old horse, like she'd been rode hard and put away wet trying to deal with this poor kid. And he looked at that lady and he said, ma'am, can I tell you a premonition about this child? She said, excuse me. He said, I just had a premonition a few minutes ago about this small child. I just want to tell you about it. She said, what's that? He said, I believe he's going to grow up and be a Maytag salesman. She said, do you really believe that? He said, absolutely. I haven't known him for more than a half hour and I'm going to buy a damn washer and dryer as soon as I leave here.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Dennis, yes, I do know the Third Amendment. I promise I'm not interested in where soldiers are housed.
Right.
But let me, guys, we just went over 3 hours. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to give everybody on the panel an opportunity to say something, say like kind of last word. Like, Bits, you got anything to say? You were my primary guest. You got anything you want to say to pass on to people?
Yeah. Continue, happy you're giving us all support. We'll keep growing, keep doing things together and hopefully make some friends or enemies on the way. And I had really good fun. I'm sorry, my sleep meds are starting to kick in.
I got you.
But really appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. Maybe you learned something from one of us, and that'd be it for me.
Absolutely. Terry, you got anything to say?
Well, actually, I'd like to provide a little bit of an explanation. I know a lot of people don't consider me an auditor, and maybe I don't either, but understand that when I first got into this, I really thought that you were just a pig tyrant and so were the rest of the people under you, Captain. I mean, I was convinced. I'd heard those same stories and I grabbed a camera and went at it. And I thought I was going to end up being out there calling you that. And once I seen how it actually worked, I realized that wasn't exactly the truth. So I hope that kind of explains the idea of, of the channel being called Auditor in the beginning. Maybe I am more of a cop watcher or a documenter, maybe a reporter. I'm not sure how all that works out. But anyway, I just want people to know that Mr. Legicator there has earned deep respect from me. The more I listen to him speak and the more I watch him work out, especially at our age, as the older we're getting, he's very inspiring to me. And I appreciate that from you, Legicator. I really do. You're a hell of a guy, and I want everybody out there to know that. Bits and Pieces, man, I love your channel. You make me laugh so hard I damn near fall out of my chair. And Sovereign down there, buddy, you're a wealth of information. And whether people will agree or disagree is irrelevant. You're a wealth of information, especially when it comes to history. I love to listen to you speak. So, I just want to say thanks to all of you. And I tell you what, I feel like I'm up here with a bunch of celebrities. I just appreciate every one of you. And hi and bye to everybody out there in the chat. I know that all of us love every one of you. So we all love to see you come around and talk with us as we're on panel.
Absolutely. Sovereign.
Well, I'd like to say I've never seen a finer group of people that were brought together by a piece of shit. Never seen anything like it. Usually it draws flies. In this case, that's not the case whatsoever. Chad, I'd like to tell you, I've given your views, and I saw it in the chat earlier. I wanted to address it that you may want to consider a run for sheriff. You're exactly the material because you understand, and the sheriff is actually the law of the land. That the sheriff is actually the legitimate law of the land, and I think you'd be perfect in that sense. Terry, I think you do a good job with everything that you do, and hey, some of it might be nothing, but that's what's going on. I too had a vision of these must be some real tyrants, but as I found, it's not much different than anywhere else. But you also have to consider, too, what you see in the camera and what's real life is different. For instance, little Maria that's so poor that she has to drink from the mud puddle. They're only showing you this little area of an impoverished area someplace. It might just be a movie set. And you envision that entire country is like that. And so you send them the money and everything. See, it's with blinders on, and he seems to do that because he's very selective even in the stories he tells. Like he leaves out key important information in order to sway the narrative, like with Kent. There's more to that story than just what you see on camera. And it's the same with all of those. And he tries to make it out like it's biased reporting. It's not much different than TMZ or any of the rest of those.
Scumdog, what you got to say, bud?
Everyone have a safe and happy 4th of July, and I'm waiting for a phone call soon. I applied to the my city's police department, and I'm waiting to go into the police academy. And I hope when I get out, I'm just as good as Captain Chad.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Lead by example, man. That's it. And I think that you're a guy that does that, Chad. Absolutely.
Well, I'll close by saying this. I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate everybody for hanging out. I know we went 3 hours tonight. We had a little fun, and we all kind of razz and act silly at times too. So I want everybody to remember that you can't take everything that we say for being the absolute truth or whatever. We're just having fun sometimes. But I do want to thank everybody that did stop by, all the guys on the panel. You guys are more than just personalities to me at this point. You guys have become friends of mine, and I appreciate you guys very much. I want everybody to remember our calls. St. Jude's is on my mind and my heart. And also I'm doing the bike or ride / challenge this month and trying to keep my fat butt going. So as far as running for office or sheriff, I don't know. That'd have to be something that God would lead me to, that I would have to feel like I was called for that. But as of right now, I sure do enjoy being the captain of the City Ironton Police Department. I enjoy the friends that I'm making. We're going to stay positive. We're going to stay focused. We're going to stay blessed. We're going to keep this going because Chili may not stop, but we don't quit and we don't lose. Remember that. You guys stay focused, stay positive, and remember, if you train like you fight, you will Fight like you train. Good night, everybody. God bless,
Good
and we'll
night.
see you guys on the next one.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Night.